Like button when you come in. You guys know the drill. Hit that like button. We need 100 likes. Quick time. Let's go. Hashtag 7 days to go. Hit that like button. Hashtag 7 days to go. Hit that like button. Redemption. Tonight, Firestorm, Volume 5.
I'm undefeated in 13 years, and I've travelled the world my whole life, and I never find a man to beat me. There ain't one born. So Deontay Wilder, unless you're gonna get reborn, you ain't beating me, son.
My mindset is very violent. It done turned me into a monster. I ain't come to do nothing but get back what's mine. And I want it back in blood.
There's something about these two men and how their careers, their personas their time in the sport is now woven together. I do think Fury Wilder is a great rivalry.
Plenty of people saying Wilder should have won that fight. He knocked him down twice. There were plenty of people saying Fury outboxed him all night. Well, that tells you kind of the story. It was a draw.
There's always a great anticipation when the opening bell rings for a heavyweight championship fight. Even more so when the two guys are champions and it's a rematch.
He puts it down! Fury storms the knockdown in round number 3. Another knockdown is scored. A body shot to Wilder. Second time he's been down. And now Fury's looking to split the guard as Wilder's in bad shape. That's the it's over. A TKO victory.
Nearly 17 months after their second battle, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder were scheduled to step in the ring on July 24th. But a few weeks before, Fury tested positive for COVID. Now the fight is rescheduled for October 9th, an epic third clash between the two best heavyweights of this era.
Well, I think it's important that they fight for a third time to have closure on what's happened in the first two. A lot of this trilogy will be remembered by, was it the return and redemption of Deontay Wilder, or was it continued dominance of Tyson Fury? We don't know yet.
Yeah. It's your boy Divine Sense Boxing in the building. Hope you guys enjoyed that little intro. You guys know how I get down, man. We got to hype this shit up. 7 days to go. When I look back at the past 3 months since I've recreated this channel, the amount of videos that I've made, the amount of live streams that I've done, talking about this fight, that is just a small percent of the cumulative energy around the world when it comes to this fight. I've said it many times before. This is much more than just a heavyweight matchup. There's so much intertwined in this fight coming 1 week away on October 9th. So I hope you guys have got your tickets if you're going. You got a plan for a barbecue with the family, however you're going to watch the fight. Because, like I've been saying, it's redemption. So, I appreciate everyone dropping by tonight. We do have a special guest with us, and we're going to have possibly some other people join the panel because, you know, it's Firestorm. You guys know how we get down on Firestorm. Open panel, open discussion. The main event, or AKA the main topic of tonight, obviously, is Fury versus Wilder, the third fight, the trilogy. But we may touch on some other topics like Canelo Plant, perhaps, maybe Sean Porter and Bud Crawford. Who knows? But usually we run it for 2+ hours, and it's going to be crispy. I want to first give a quick shout out to the room for all the people. The first one in the building, I don't know if he's still here, is Hog Capone. Shout out to Hog Capone. Shout out to my man Felix Garza. KSI in the building. I am Trill Will. So, Will, if you are still in the chat, man, send me a message on the gram. Send me your email, and I'll get you a link. We got my man Antoine Richardson in the house, man, an official member of the channel. Always good to see you. And I haven't forgot, I'm going to wrench you up here just in a moment, Antoine. We got Dwayne Price in the building. O. Williams, Andrew Charles, salute to you. Black Alpha in the building. Pompeii Fight Nation, what's good to you? We good, man. I'm holding up good. Big Dog Willie, another official member of the channel. Salute to you, sir. Thanks for dropping by. I'm glad you made it tonight. We got Freddie Ruger. We got DOGG 215. It's good to see you in the chat, bro. Omega Red. Also from Phoenix, representing Phoenix, Arizona, my hometown. Shout out to Omega Red. Mike from Michigan. Always good to see you. Christopher Belazar. Good to see you, bro. C. Wood. One of my favorites in here in the chat, as always. I appreciate you, bro. Moped, a guy who's been subscribed to the channel basically since the beginning. Kenneth Perry, I appreciate you, bro. I'm glad you enjoyed the intro. We got PGH, Big Dog in the house. Always a pleasure to see you, bro. Don Shota, 24. Was good. Big Dog Willie, man, wants to start off the night with the first super chat. I appreciate you, bro. He says, the haters are coming soon with full assault. Bro, I didn't even went live yet. I created the live, and not more than 10 minutes, somebody already disliked the video. So we know what's coming. So all my wrenches stand by. That's all I got to say. Fred Rhodes, what's good, my man? One more week, mate. My man, my man changed his name, bro. My man changed his name on his YouTube, man. Shout out to your new name, One More Week. I hear you, bro. It's Cruiser. Yeah. I see you, bro. I see you. Stormy B-Man says, what's good? He says, resend my link to Stormy B-Man at Gmail. All right, just give me a moment. All right, Stormy, I'll get you the link. We got another super chat here. Dawn Shota24 says, salute. Can't wait for this panel. I'm telling you. Cano Loco Sports in the building. What's good, my man? What's good? We got Specific Volume in the house. What's good, my man? Y'all don't know, man. Specific Volume is the one who had created that music video / track that he made for Deontay Wilder. Go check out my man Specific Volume on YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. Show him some love. Bronchies Boxing. Nicholas Long. What's good? All right. Hopefully, Dave. What's good, Dave? And another official member of the channel. I appreciate you dropping by. Boss Red 357 just dropped in. What it do? What's good, my man? Thanks for dropping by. So, people getting hyped up for Firestorm. That's what I like to see. Like I said, we do have one special guest that will be brought in here just momentarily. What I need to do first is hook up my man, the myth, the legend, Antoine Richardson, man. Congratulations. You have now received your official wrench to the channel, bro. Much deserved, much appreciated. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop the link here in the chat because I got way too many stuff to go on that's going on to where I got to send emails and stuff. You know, I got too much stuff. So I'm going to drop the link here in the chat. Whoever wants to join, I know Stormy B standing by to join. I am Trill Will if you're still here. The link is going to go in the chat here in the next 30 seconds. You can go ahead and click on it and wait backstage. And for all the trolls, potential haters that was going to click on the link to join the show. This is Firestorm, okay? This is Firestorm. I want to address the fact that people have been saying, okay, I've seen the comments. I've seen some people making videos too. It's already started. Name dropping me, doing sneak dissing and all that. I see you. So guess what? This is your chance. So after tonight, I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Divine doesn't want to debate people. Divine doesn't let people have different opinions. None of that. But I tell you what, you click the link, you come backstage, you got to verify yourself. We ain't having no shenanigans tonight. We got a good, solid panel full of family here. All right? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you want to come in and talk boxing, we can do that. If not, you will be banished from the channel forever, for eternity. So that's on you. All right? I'm just letting you guys know right now. We're playing no games. 0 games. We got boxing minds in here tonight. But if you have a different opinion than myself or anybody else on the panel, you can come on. But just beware. No shenanigans. All right, so the link is now in the chat. Y'all can click on it. I know Stormy B, like I said, I am Chill Will. Anyone else that wants to jump in? All right, so getting all that out of the way, shout out to my man Cursor, a.k.a. One Mo Week, mate. Just became an official member of the channel. Gotta support. I appreciate you, bro. It goes a long way more than you know. It continues to motivate me to do what I do out here. Mike from Michigan also jumping in and becoming an official member of the channel. Mike, salute to you, sir, bro. I appreciate you, man. Like I said, it means more than you know. We got Jade Nielsen dropping by. Jade, what's good, my man? More and more people coming in, man. This shit's about to get lit. I can feel it. I can feel the energy right now. It's about to get lit. It's about to get lit. All right. So hopefully, if you guys just joined, you missed a little introduction video that I just played by PBC on Fox. Don't worry. I might play it again later tonight so you can see it. It's fire. It's a very nice introduction video, other than Brian Kinney in there giving his commentary. A little bit of a thorn in my side. But nonetheless, it's a nice little introduction video. I'll play a little bit here later because I know people are just starting to file in. Make sure you hitting that like button. That's automatic. You come in and you hit that like button. You guys know the drill. We need 100 likes minimum tonight. It's Firestorm. We don't play no games. We need 100 likes. That's it. That's it. So, first, oh, Jade says I'm a lady. Hey, I apologize. If I said something that didn't address you accordingly, I apologize. So, Jade, I hear you. I appreciate you. Thanks for dropping by. We got Deanna Branch, man. Come on, Deanna. I've been waiting for you. I've been holding up the whole chat for Deanna Branch. Now I'm just playing. No, it's good to see you, Deanna, man. Thanks for dropping by. Just taking over, dropping in. Alfred dropping in. Man, the crew is coming in tonight. Of course, it's 1 week away. It's 1 week away. All right. Let's get the show rolling here. I want to go ahead and bring in my first guest of the evening. We have a gentleman who I ran into randomly, literally just yesterday. That's the beauty of boxing. I decided to go up to one of my local gyms out here and get some work in. And you know, it's just one of those things where I've, behind the scenes, if you guys don't know, I've been going into gyms and doing some work because, you know, I'm a firm believer in practice what you preach. I don't want to just be a guy on the mic. You know, I want to be someone who actually boxes and does some work and let you guys know that, you know, this is something that I truly do love and have a passion for. And I ran into a gentleman yesterday, and we did a little bit of sparring. We got to know each other a little bit, and we started talking about the sport, obviously. And he was like, "Yo, man, you got to bring me on, bro. I'd love to talk about anything boxing, but in particular, of course, Fury and Wilder." So I was like, "All right, shit, let's do it." So I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on in a moment, but just let you guys know, the man's name is Brian Macy. All right, in 1999 he was the PAL national champ. All right, and he did that at 165 back in 1999. So he's got a very good amateur pedigree, man. He's been up there in the mix several times back there in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. I'm not quite sure. He can let you guys know. But he did win the national championship in 1999. That's how crazy boxing is. Who would have thought? I'm out here in Thailand going into a boxing gym to do some sparring, and I run into a guy who's a PAL national champion in 1999. He did have a little short career as a pro. He fought at light heavy, and he used to be a sparring partner against guys, the names like Monte Barret, Lawerence Clay Bey, and he actually grew up with bad Chad Dawson growing up. So cool dude, man, and it's a pleasure to have him on the panel tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. It's my man, Brian Macy. What's good, Brian?
Good, Kenny. Ready for the show, bro.
Yeah, man. So did I get everything right? A little introduction,
Yeah.
on point. We good to go? All right.
Yeah, man. Good to go.
Nice, nice. So
Yeah.
just tell the people real quick, a little bit about your amateur career and the things that you saw, the things that you accomplished, the people that you met, and things like that. Just real quickly.
Yeah, so I grew up, my dad owned a boxing gym right near Foster's and Mohegan Sun. So, yeah, I just grew up boxing all my life. I came in second in the national silver gloves when I was in like 8th grade. Yeah, I won the national PAL when I was in high school. But, you know, it kind of looked like bad Chad Dawson. I grew up, I fought him 4 times in the amateurs. I beat him once. He beat me 3 times. But, you know, I ended up going to college looking, because if you're not in that 1% of superstar talent, you're not going to make the money boxing, you know? So, yeah, and I used to live with Curtis Stevens in Brownsville, New York. And, yeah, just always been boxing. So meeting you, Kenny, was great for me to, yeah, get my boxing bug off. I'm a teacher now. I'm a single parent. I have custody of my son. So I, yeah, became a teacher after my boxing career was over. And I love teaching and everything, but I need to get my boxing in, man. So thank you for having me on, Kenny.
Oh, no doubt about it, bro. And you know, it's such a small world, right? That's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about boxing. And it's happened to me a few other times going to different boxing gyms, and you just run into people that have seen some crazy stuff in boxing, rather as an amateur, a brief or extensive record as a pro. 5 or 6 years ago, I ran into a guy that was like a journeyman, man, and fought like basically everybody that you can think of.
That's where the money's
And
at, man.
we were talking about that yesterday after our sparring session about how journeymen they stay active and they make that money. And so a lot of interesting stuff, and perhaps I'll bring you on another time and we'll
Yeah.
get more into depth about this particular topic. I do want it because people are chomping at the bit right now at Fury Wilder.
Yeah, Fury
And
Wilder.
so yeah. So look, a guy who, like I said, you have a distinguished amateur career. You've been around the boxing circle, so I thought it'd be a good idea to bring in your opinion about this big trilogy fight, man.
Let's do it.
It's huge. It's like I said at the very beginning. It's more than just like a trilogy. It's more than just a boxing match of heavyweights. There's just so much intertwined into it with what happened after, more specifically the second fight with Wilder having the towel thrown in at the 7th round. And so between that time and now, there's just been a lot of negative energy, some positive energy, those supporting Wilder. And of course, the Fury fans, they think it's a big joke for the most part. They think the third fight's going to be easy. They think the third fight's going to be easy because, if he did it the second time, he's probably going to do it again the third time and even easier. And that's actually what Fury's saying. That's what he's saying. But before you comment, Brian, I do want to go ahead and bring on another esteemed gentleman, esteemed guest, my man, Stormy B, man. Stormy, how you doing tonight?
Stormy.
What's good, brothers? How you guys doing? What's up, Brian? How you doing,
Good.
man? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, Stormy.
Yeah, you know what it is, Stormy, man. When it gets to that point, right? 1 week away, that's when the jitters start, right? That's when you're like, ooh, man. And that's it for me. It's like I feel it so engraved that I have to go to a boxing gym and Brian's got to piece me up in sparring to get my fix, man. And how are you feeling right now, Stormy? 1 week away. What's your vibe right now?
Oh man, I got violence on my mind. I'm keeping the same type of approach that the Wilder camp has going toward this fight, man. Let me tell you something. Talk about jitters for this week. No jitters. This is like, you ever knew that you were going to be awarded something, and it's like there were going to be a ceremony and everything, and it's coming up. You don't necessarily get jittery about it. You kind of get like in a place of excitement, you know, and you get jitters about the unknown. Why should you be jittery about what you want in life? Think about it. And being a veteran of these circumstances, Deontay Wilder is going to go into this with such a different mindset. It's going to surprise people.
Yeah.
Because he's got a chance, as his trainer and coach Malik Scott suggested, to do something he's never done before. That's become the heavyweight champion for the second time. Has never at any point in his career ever wanted to lay hands on like he wants to lay hands on this particular fighter. So that brings the excitement. Because in order to be successful in what he's setting out to do, not only does he have to be patient, he has to be ready, he has to be mentally sound for it, and he can't overshoot. You understand? And this is his coming out party. That's the way I see it. I'm quite certain that Malik sees it the exact same way. And for the people who are excited about this fight, whether you're supporting one guy or the other, you guys should be excited for this fight, because this fight means something significant about the heavyweight division going forward.
Right.
No one should want to be on the wrong side of history.
Yep. And, you know, I refer back to, let's put it in perspective just for a moment. Y'all remember all of the animosity that happened between Wilder and Dominic Breazeale, right, before their fight. And Dominic Breazeale pissed Wilder off. Don't get it twisted. He was definitely upset at the things that were said leading up to that fight. Now, we know what happened to Breazeale, right? He got knocked out in the first round, laid out flat like a loaf of bread. Okay. And I would say that Wilder is even more, I don't know if you want to use the word upset, more motivated, more violent-minded, I guess you can say, lack of better words, than he was against Breazeale. And we saw what he did against Breazeale. Now, okay, granted, Breazeale's not Tyson Fury, but I think you guys get my point. The focus is back. Malik said something very interesting in an interview. I don't remember what it was on PBC. I saw it pop up on my feed on Instagram, I think. And Malik said that Wilder is extremely receptive. He is more than motivated. And more importantly, we have a healthy Wilder, mentally and physically. And I think that's key, because when I watched that second fight, and Brian, maybe you can comment about what you thought about the second fight. What I saw was a Wilder that just simply put, wasn't himself. He didn't look mentally engaged. Something physically was wrong with him. And we've spent a lot of time on this channel debating on what happened. And, of course, allegations were brought up as far as gloves being tampered with, possibly water being spiked. All kinds of accusations were brought to the table, and we've touched on them all. But the one thing that stood out to me the most was him not being mentally engaged and also physically. And a lot of times, as you being a fighter, Brian, we don't know as fans what really is happening behind the scenes. And you have the animosity perhaps between trainers, camps, maybe you having injuries. A lot of different stuff can be happening. But I've never, for the entire time I've been watching Wilder, have never seen him look the way he did in the second fight. And Malik said it. He said Fury had his best night against Wilder's worst night. So what do you think about that, Brian?
Yeah, true. You don't know what's going on, in the fight, in the camp and everything. And it's funny with the allegations he was making about the ring outfit being too heavy. to be honest, when you're in the fight, when you're under those bright lights, like I got what he was saying. I understand how stuff like that can mess with you mentally, and yeah, he had a bad night. It is what it is, man. Fury completely flipped the style. Fury's longevity in the game, he's 6'9". He's such a big dude. He may end up always being more aggressive now, that having that wrinkle in his style, And yeah, I think the second fight was good, but for Deontay Wilder, that may be the best thing that ever happened to him in his boxing career, because now he went and he's reinventing himself. If he would have had another, competitive fight, close fight, he wouldn't have done this. He wouldn't have went all out to switch his style and got with Malik Scott and reinvented himself. So I think in the long run, this could be the best thing for Deontay Wilder's career, that second loss.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I've always said the same thing. I've said that as bad as it was hard to watch the second fight as a fan of Wilder. And I wasn't on YouTube at that point. But I've always said that getting Malik Scott in his corner, and you and I, Brian, we talked about this yesterday after sparring about Malik Scott. And I think we both agree that Malik Scott is probably the best thing that ever happened to him, because Malik he was a heavyweight. He was a heavyweight contender. He's a big man himself. So that offers a certain dynamic when he's holding the mitts. They can probably do light sparring together as well as a trainer fighter. And, and so just real quickly, what is your thoughts about bringing Malik Scott into the camp?
Yeah, excellent. Malik Scott's the man. Like, I remember him from the amateurs. He's world-class amateur. And, he's a good pro too. And, yeah, like, normally, with a man as tall as Deontay Wilder, you wouldn't think about him ducking and head movement and stuff. But in this fight with Fury's so big that this is going to add a whole new wrinkle to his style, I think he expanded upon Deontay Wilder's offensive weapons so much, because Deontay Wilder had that 1-2. The timing on his 1-2 was tremendous before. He was in great shape, and he just keeps coming. But now he's offering the different head movement, the waist movement. The punches are going to come from a completely different angle for Fury. So, we're going to have to see how it looks. And to people, I know some people will write it off and say, oh, you can't learn that much in, whatever it's been, 4 or 5 months or whatever. But like, if you would have went by the standard protocol, you can't start boxing as late as Deontay Wilder did and win the world heavyweight championship. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a normal man. Like, you're putting normal expectations on a guy that's not normal, He's a world
Brian,
champion,
And not to cut you off, but I just want to have you comment real quickly, because I'm so glad you mentioned that. Wilder starting late and eventually becoming a world heavyweight champion. But I'll take it back a few notches. Tell the people, especially those people in the back peeking through the blinds, as Stormy likes to say, the haters, how hard is it? How challenging is it for even to go to the Olympics and then Wilder winning a bronze medal? Explain to the people how hard and challenging that is.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, guys box their whole life. Like, I lost in the Olympic trials in 2004. Malik Scott, these guys, we box our whole life since we're 9, 10 years old. And yeah, you can't make it. It's only one guy makes the Olympic team, It's the amount of competition is crazy. It's just Deontay Wilder is an exceptionally blessed athlete. Usually when you see athletes like that get in the gym, they don't have the mental toughness and whatnot. Like when you have basketball players, guys transition into boxing, they have great athletic skills, but they don't have the mental toughness. Deontay Wilder is a dog. He doesn't stop. He proved that in his fight with Luis Ortiz. He's not like he's going to keep coming. He's always in good shape. He's got the heart of a champ. And it's amazing what he's done.
Yeah. And Stormy, this is why I'm so grateful to bring somebody on like Brian. It's just amazing how boxing works. Like I said, man, we were able to do some work and then we started talking about boxing. But Stormy, you and I have talked about this several times, right? Behind the scenes on each other's panels about how you can't win a bronze medal if you don't have skill. So this whole idea that has been spouted out, this past basically, well, shit, you can take it all the way back to the first fight. Even before that, even before he fought Fury, people were discrediting Wilder. And it's so good to have somebody on like Brian come on and say, I know what it's like. I went to the Olympic trials. I lost. You know, I thought I was pretty good. And then I figured out, like, damn, there's guys out there that are better than me. So then you, like a guy like Wilder, was able to do what he did starting so late. You know, did you want to put a final exclamation point to that point, Stormy?
Yeah, a couple of things, and great observation and revelation of experience by Brian, because, you know, as you said, we've spoken about these things behind the scenes and on panels and discussions. Wilder he's a special athlete, as it was stated, but I want to throw something out there for people to think about. He didn't have the tutelage that he has received over the past year for the first part of his career. And when I say the first part of his career, I want to talk about up until the loss, because this is the thing about the loss in boxing. That's when the learning begins. When you lose, and I talked about this with guys that I work with in the gym, when you lose, that's when you start to learn, because you've suffered a setback. Now your mind is supposed to open up to how to deal with problems, how to resolve problems, how to find ways to get beyond the setback that you found before yourself. Then comes the application of how to go about doing this, how to redirect and refocus, rededicate yourself to becoming someone who is a learned person, and you're adding that onto the experience of what it was like, to lose, how it makes you feel. How would it feel for you to turn that on its end? These are what you bring in going forward. Now, when you were in school and you failed a test, if the instructor gave you the opportunity to make up the test and say, hey, you know, you can make this up before the end of the semester or whatever, typically you're supposed to bust your behind to try to do that, so you don't run into a situation where you fail, you see. And if you were to trip and fall, would you spend the rest of your time being on the surface of where you landed, on your behind, or would you brush yourself off and get back up and continue on your path? This is why the guys who are fighting in the sport today that don't want to face quality opposition are never going to be acknowledged as being great for not having tested themselves. And often the test is not necessarily the opponent. The test is within yourself, because that's when you find out how much you really want something, how much you do not want something, how much you want to ask of yourself, how much are you willing to give of yourself. It's an entirely involving process. Now, me speaking about Deontay's tutelage that he had not received, what was really revealing and beneficiary to him was the very night of his loss to Fury, he was immediately already thinking about what he needed to do to turn that around. And he began to be motivated on that. Not revenge. Let's make that clear. But knowing that I could have won this fight, but what do I need to do to make sure, or to ensure that I do, once we exercise this third fight option? And by making some changes, not just within his camp as far as personnel, but he made a change in himself. He went silent to the public and the media, which is one of the best things he could have done, because all they've done was discredit and cause chaos with him with controversial things. So to go into a place where you can kind of like regalvanize yourself, which is what he's done. And over the process of the months that passed, when delays started to kick in, all it allowed him to do was get better and better and better. We are so far removed, a year and a half already, from the loss. He's had several camps already, so it's not like he just went for 5 or 6 months. No, he's had an opportunity to increase what he is capable of in a successful manner, and what he's going to bring new, it'll be revealed on the night of. And he has to be tremendously excited to do that. But check this out. Lastly, he's having fun. He's having fun. When you can turn what you do for a living into something fun and exciting, you can really excel at it. Externally, look at other people. They're brooding, they're unhappy. Oh, why do we have to go through all of this and blah, blah, blah. But these people over here who are ready to go back in there, they can't wait to show you their new dance moves, huh? Put the needle on the record. Let the people see what's going to happen. And the fact that you have people who live by the old adage that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, first of all, that may be true in some instances, but in this instance, we're not talking about an old dog, are we? Because Deontay is kind of a new babe in the sport. He's just been tremendously successful, but doesn't have the extensive time of being involved in the sport as many other people who are even younger than he in this particular division. So Bambi, they're born, shaky legs and everything or whatever, has a chance to grow up. And look how beautiful a deer or a gazelle it will be as it graces the canvas out there on October night. On October 9th, we were going to see this. I have all the confidence in the world that that's what it'll be. And what made me have that was looking at a person who is enjoying what they're doing now. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, excellent commentary as usual from the man, Stormy B. So let's switch gears and let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's get to the stylistic point of view of the fight. I think that's what a lot of people want to hear. And before I do that, I want to go ahead and double check where the poll's sitting at. I do have a poll at the top of this chat. Make sure you vote before you leave tonight. It's a simple poll. Who you got? You got the options Fury or Wilder by decision, or you got Fury, Wilder by TKO or KO. Right now, currently, with 111 votes, 88% saying Wilder knocking him the hell out. 88%. We got a few people out there hiding in the bushes. Says Fury. 7% says Fury's going to win by TKO. 7%. So I don't know. That's about 4 people or so. I've dropped a link to the show in the chat earlier. You can scroll up if you want to join. It's up to you. But like I said earlier, if you want to jump in and challenge our points here, you're going to be forced to do it respectfully or not at all. We may have Drew Titan drop in later if he gets off work in time. We're waiting to see. But nonetheless, like I said, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty. The stylistic point of view of the fight. How do you see it playing out? We've talked a little bit about Malik Scott and what he brings to the table, the different skill set that he can implement with Deontay. I think the biggest question is not so much what Wilder's going to do for me personally, because I've seen all of his training footage, and I'm pretty confident on what he's going to bring to the table. For me, it's more of a question, what is Fury going to do? Is he going to come forward like he did the second fight? Is he going to box on his toes like he did the first fight? He fooled everybody. He lied to everybody. He's actually going to come out and box. Is he going to come out forward for the first part and then realize it's not effective and then go back to boxing? We don't know what Fury's going to do because, quite frankly, he lies a lot. He deceives people a lot, right? He's out there tooting his horn and beating his drum, saying he's going to do this, that, or whatever. He may or he may not do something completely different. Now, I've read some different things online where Fury right now has said, I'm 270 pounds. I'm going to be 270 pounds, which he's probably trying to send the message, I'm going to weigh on Wilder. I'm going to lay on him. I'm going to bully him. I'm going to be too big, too long for him. I'm going to come 270 plus. So that's either one, he's putting on weight because that's his plan, or two, he's been a lazy ass and hasn't really been training. And he's trying to fool the public. We don't know. We're going to find out. I've said on the show that I think Wilder's going to come in probably 230, 235. That's my estimation. He does look like he's put on some muscle. Been doing a lot of bench press, a lot of plyometrics, a lot of, explosive training. He's pushing sled, so he's putting on some muscle. I don't see him getting any bigger than that. That's my opinion. So I'll swing it around back to Brian again, and then Stormy, and then I'll give my thoughts on how I see the fight playing out and how. And once you break it down, Brian, let the people know how you see it playing out. Give some different perspectives, some different, possibilities, and then let the people know your prediction. How do you see it actually playing out on fight night? So, Brian, let us know.
Yeah, so I assume Fury's going to come out. I mean, they're going to be feeling each other out in the first few rounds, and he's going to try to put Wilder on the back foot again and back him up. That's what I assume. Now, with Wilder's newfound angles, it's going to, if he can land some early from the different angle, like an uppercut or, one of these new punches he's learning, Fury's going to have to pause and sit back a lot more. I don't know if he's going to be so willing to come forward and walk through Wilder's new arsenal of punches. So I think we may see a fight that transitions from Fury trying to attack and put the pressure on, and then having to make adjustments and turning back to his boxing and being elusive more so. So yeah, I think lots of question marks going into this fight and lots of possibilities. If Fury comes forward and puts the pressure on, I cannot imagine it going as like it did the second fight, because Wilder, that was, he's learning on the job, and he looks like he's totally reinvented himself. As far as predictions, man, it's a tough one. I can't rule out anything in this fight. Heavyweight title fight, super competitive, super interesting. I guess, yeah, Wilder's punch, man, he's not going to, his punching power doesn't wither away after 6 or 7 rounds. He's going to be 12 rounds, and with more than just the right hand and those standard 1-2, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if Fury's the game plan he had for the second fight may get him knocked out this fight. He's going to have to adjust.
Yeah, I've said that too. Fury fans are. I've seen the comment section all over YouTube. I'm gonna bet my house on Fury. I'm betting my whole house on it. He's gonna come forward and he's gonna beat him up. He's too big. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what, man? Good. I hope Fury does come forward, because in my opinion, I think he has a better chance of getting knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fury, at the end of the day, and I'm sure Stormy will probably follow up with this point, is that at the end of the day, he's a boxer. Mm-hmm. He's always been a boxer. So if y'all want to talk about, Wilder's just a one-punch fighter, he doesn't have any skill, you can't teach old dog new tricks, blah, 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 we've heard it all. Right? Well, how is Fury all of a sudden going to become a big puncher when he's been a boxer his whole life? Mm-hmm. So the hypocrisy there is astounding. But I don't think he doesn't have defense when he comes forward. Fury does not have a defense. All right. He does, but it's not as good as if he's on the back foot, slipping, sliding, counter punching.
I tell you what, though, Divine. I tell you what, though, coming forward, one thing I see Tyson Fury has been boxing since he's 10. You know, and like the rolling, the little stuff. Even if he gets hit, rolling with it, stuff like that he does have. Yeah, that gives him a shot at, you know, coming forward and the experience that he has on Wilder, you know?
For sure. I just feel like if we were to make a comparison between coming forward and boxing and staying on the back foot, he's more likely to get knocked out coming forward than he is having his feet planted, right? And boxing behind the jab, right? Because that's his MO. He's always been a boxer. So, you know, for me, I just feel like Wilder, and you can tell by the training that I'm playing right here with Malik Scott. Malik Scott he's done a lot of different things in this mitt work. He comes forward, he pressures Wilder, makes Wilder feel uncomfortable, putting Wilder on the back foot, forcing Wilder to go to the body. You see the body work is intense with Malik Scott. I've never seen Wilder go to the body this much in a training video in any camps prior, any fight ever before, right? Not just a jab to the body or a straight right hand to the body, but we're talking about 3, 4, 5 punch combinations to the body.
Yeah, but you know, Divine,
and
I don't know if the body would be such a great idea for Deontay Wilder normally, being that he's got this significant height advantage normally. But against Tyson Fury, this body attack, I'm sure, is integral part of their game plan.
Yeah. It's there to be hit, you know, when you're 6'9", 270 pounds. It's there to be hit. And there's people out there that say, oh, the body punches won't matter. Fury, you know, he's just too big, this and that. But you get up in that rib cage, you know what I mean? And on that note, Brian has a very interesting perspective when it comes to going to the body. All right. So Brian shared a very interesting video with me yesterday after we spoke, and he was like, "Oh, check me out." So this is your man right here. This is your boy right here, Brian Macy, fighting on, what is this, Friday Night Fights on ESPN?
Yeah, Friday Night Fights. Yep, Mohegan Sun.
Yeah. So talking about body shots, you know, Brian knows a little bit about body shots, and in particular, the left. Brian is the guy right there in the gold shorts. All right, this is Brian.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm sure, Brian, you've probably seen this 1,000 times.
Yeah, you know, and like
here comes bam,
body shots, boom. Yeah, the quick
left
ones,
hook,
man. Break that hanging rib.
Yep. So you know a little bit about that body shot. You know, you get that left hook in there, it can do some serious damage.
And they stick with you, man. When you get hit with a good body shot, you know, it's a 12-round fight. He gets hit with a good body shot in the 3rd round, it's gonna stick with him. It feels worse and worse as you go, you know. It's not like a headshot, you can shake it off, you know, like the body shots, man, they stick with you. They're debilitating. And
I just want to say to you, for the record, Brian, thank you for not hitting me with that body shot yesterday in sparring.
Yeah, no worries.
So that looks vicious.
Oh, they hurt. I've been on both ends of it. You know, I've been on both ends of the body shots. Hurt, man. They hurt
for sure. Yeah. So yeah, Stormy, what do you think about the body work that that Wilder has clearly been working on with Malik? Do you think it'll be implemented to the extent that he has been practicing it? Do you think it'll just be a part of it, but not maybe that extensive? I've came on record and said that I think that he's gonna stop him, not stop him, but at least have him take a knee with a body shot. I've already came out and said that. What do you think about it, Storm?
The most important thing here is to have add what was not there originally. Okay? What we're going to see going forward, not just with this fight, you're going to see a complete toolbox, a complete arsenal of what Deontay will have at his disposal. It doesn't matter if Tyson Fury comes forward or goes backward or tries to move and circle around as if he were on his toes like a Larry Holmes or a Ali. There will be answers for whatever he does this time. Last time, there weren't. And the first fight also. He said that himself that previously his tutelage was involved mostly with the 1-2. Throw that 1-2, the 1-2. What you've seen of him that you've never seen before in some of the footage that they've shown. And remember, they've shown you what they want you to see. They haven't shown you what they don't want you to see. That's what should be disconcerting, because it's like the unknown. But you've seen him now move on his toes and throw punches on his toes. And if you look at the work that he's doing on his toes and moving, those punches are still landing with a tremendous thud, even if it's a jab. Being able to punch on the move is a wrinkle that was not there before. Okay? I'll tell you something else to look at. For those that used to make the comments about his legs being too thin and skinny, you see the weight that's been added to his legs? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Can you see
it? Definitely more lean. He's definitely leaner. You can see more muscle definition in his legs.
There's strength in the legs that may not have been there before. Strength. That means something. So, when you can punch like he punches, remember, it doesn't matter if you're going away, coming in, or moving around. He's going to be adept at doing what he needs to do and what's necessary. When you asked me, how do I see the fight unfolding? Submission by Tyson Fury. Something that he has never done before, but he will be forced to do it. Because I'll tell you something. He's not necessarily the bravest man in the world, because we saw him trying to get out of this third fight. But one thing he won't do is he won't take a beating, even though one will be attempted to be meted out on him. His daddy didn't raise no fool, okay? Even though he acts one quite often. I see submission. I see submission. I see the pressure of what's being done to him, regardless of what his game plan is. I see him becoming what has always been hidden about him. The confidence will be stripped away immediately. All that brazen and bravado talk, it means nothing once the bell rings and you in there one-on-one. Okay? Remember, if you go back to Nicholas Asbury, when he revealed the things that were going on in the gym, they told him the reason that they did what they did was they were trying to instill what? Confidence in Fury. Fury left the camp that he had going when he was here, leading up to the July 24th date, to go back to the UK, because the guys who were giving him work here were beating his behind. Okay? That's what that was about. He wasn't measuring up against guys who are not even at Deontay's level yet. There's still prospects who haven't made the championship level yet. Okay? And they were beating him up, knocking him out in the gym. Okay? And he wasn't able to do those trickery things as he did with Asbury and some other guys that he's trained with in the past, because the word was already out on him. So those guys might have went a little hard on him in the gym anyway because of those things. If he couldn't take it from them, how is he going to take it from the former champ, soon to be two-time champ, who has violence on his mind, who has a permanent dent in the side of his head because something not attributed to the sport of boxing landed on him? Doctors already diagnosed that. So when we talk about these things, think about it. He's going in there to do something that nobody has done. He's going to beat this guy into submission. And if you're 270 pounds, there have been heavy bags in the gym that have weighed as much as that. And I've seen guys destroy those bags in the gym. And with the little legs that he has, remember, nobody talks about Fury's legs. The guy is both knock-kneed and slew-footed at the same time. There's a way to exploit that as well. And I'm sure Malik Scott, who's a trainer like myself, has already worked on exploiting that. So all of these things will add up to this man who you've never seen. And I'll tell you something. If he could be listening right now and he could say, I'll show him, I'm going to go in there. He's not going to make me submit. Listen, why did he go over to MMA? To try to learn some of the tricks of the trade over there, how to get away with certain things, to bring and incorporate in boxing that don't belong in boxing, by the way. So the referee needs to be watching out for those things. But all of these things that you do on the sly, because you don't have the wherewithal to handle it with the tools that boxing brings to the sport. But Deontay is going to have an answer for all of that. But the submission factor would be the most humiliating, not being knocked out, to say, I can't take no more. Yeah. That's what I see happening.
Stormy saying no mas. Stormy saying no mas, man. It's too much. Shit. Hey, I'm gonna swing it back over to Brian real quick, and he jumped out. Hey, this guy, man, James, don't try to get into the panel again. Don't try. You come back in, you're gonna be banned from the studio, bro. Don't try it again, bitch. All right, let me swing it back over to Brian. What do you see, man? What do you see from Wilder's footwork here? For me, I feel he looks a lot more balanced.
Yeah,
his stance is not as wide. He's not as wide. He's nice and he's more fluid. What do you see in there?
Yeah, he's more fluid. But the big thing I see is when he's throwing a left hook to the body, look where his head is. His head is in good defensive position. Because, throwing a left hook to the body for a tall man can put you, it can expose your head, because your hands dropping and all that. But Malik Scott has him, he's defensively aware while he's delivering those punches. And he's going to need it against Fury because he's got like he doesn't look like a puncher, but I mean, when you're 6'9", when you're that big of a man, he can punch. So I like that Deontay Wilder is always aware. Malik Scott has him always defensively, his head and his level changes. He's in a good position. And
right.
He's going to need it. It's going to be interesting.
Right. And, the first I'm going to give a shout out to my man, Antoine, man. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Much appreciated. Excellent panel. Yeah, this is great. It's great to have a guy like Brian on here giving his expertise, and, of course, always having Stormy and Antoine, man. Always appreciate you. You always support the channel, and can't thank you enough. Yeah, I agree. I've probably watched this training footage, man, probably a dozen times. And I try to look for something a little bit different every single time. Now, I've told the panel before in the chat when I've previously broken down this footage that are there some theatrics in this? Yeah, of course, because they know it's being filmed. It's going to go on Instagram. They want to put some big body shots in. But there's also some stuff that you can see that Wilder has changed. You know, there's definitely, it's like a mixture of, I'm going to let the people know how I've improved, but also I'm going to entertain the people. It's both. Now, on that note, I find it kind of interesting how during this whole lead up of the trilogy fight, Wilder has put out several videos of him training, heavy bag, mitt work, lifting weights, actually a little bit of sparring as well, has leaked. Pictures of him sparring. But we haven't seen anything from Fury other than doing back-breaking deadlifts with terrible form. Like literally, not even joking. And I don't know what to think of that. Either he has something tricky up his sleeve, or they're not confident. I don't know. For me, and I think Stormy agrees as well, him putting out this type of footage, which is over like 3 minutes long. It's not a little 30-second clip. They're giving you kind of like in the ring, like, look, this is what we're doing. For me, it's confidence. It's like, this is what we're doing, and try to stop us. Has Fury seen this footage? Absolutely he has. His whole team has seen this. So I'll swing it back to Stormy real quick. What do you make of Fury not releasing any footage, practically nothing of him training, other than 10-second clips, which they've done on that show that the promotion videos from PBC? We haven't seen anything other than that. So what do you take? Do you think that he's hiding something? Do you think it's a lack of confidence? Do you think maybe it's just a publicity stunt where he just doesn't want to return the favor? What do you think, Stormy?
There's only so much a boxer can do in the gym, in the ring, especially with someone like Fury, who's been boxing all his life. So if he was getting beaten up before and they had to knock the camp off, take a break or whatever, let him go back home, get his confidence back up, and start working with more subpar fighters, because that's what happened when he went back home. He was working with subpar guys. He wasn't working like these guys. You can't get better than Efe Ajagba and Jared Anderson as two young guns out there who are destined to, when these guys settle the top of the smoke at the top of the division, it'll be their turn soon enough. And AJ might as well go sit down somewhere because he won't be able to contend with those guys. But back to Fury. Not showing anything is to his own benefit, because if he's looking bad, that's self-explanatory. If he's looking capable, it still may not be what they want to show, because he's not facing the same guy. The other thing is, if they're working on things that they can try to get away with, tactics and things of that nature, D has those things covered already by the people that he has brought in with his camp and everything, and they've already had those discussions. Like I said before, he's bringing a different arsenal this time, one that was not there for the last time. And if the last time was the best that Fury could do, just remember, people, that Deontay was still on his feet when the fight was stopped by his own cornerman and had landed a resounding left hook just as that towel came in that made Fury take a few steps back, who was also becoming very winded, and at that heavy weight, and with Wilder hardly throwing any body shots. So what's going to be left for this third go round? He's going to have to deal with the full artillery now. So like I said, I see submission. There's already a tremendous amount of mental pressure on him. He did not want this. He didn't. He's being forced. When he talked on that interview and he spoke about the 80 million, if he didn't get his behind back in there with Wilder or have to retire, he sounded like a guy crying. And he also sounded like a guy who's ready to snitch on anything or anyone that is in concert with everything that went down from the second fight. So pressure bursts pipes. We've heard that saying a lot. I don't know how much they know about that over there in the UK, because guys take knees and submit a great deal over there. So to introduce Fury or reintroduce him to that will make it familiar to him. It'll be just like home. Yeah, I said it.
Stormy. Stormy ain't holding back. See, this is what happens, man. 1 week away. We ain't playing no games. Look, I think people have to understand, and Brian, you're new to the panel, and we're more than happy to have you here, man. But guys like Stormy and I, we've had to walk through the flames more than once when it comes to discussing this sport and the amount of heat and criticism that we get. I mean, I got guys trying to join the panel right now that are trying to disrupt this great boxing conversation that we have right now. And the thing is for a long time, people have been saying that Joshua is going to destroy Wilder, and Wilder doesn't match up against the UK heavyweights. He doesn't stand a chance. All the belts are going to go back to the UK. Well, just a reminder for everyone, 3 of the belts are in the Ukraine right now. That's right. So Joshua, and to Stormy's point, and let me refine it a little bit. When people get upset, I'm sure there's some Joshua fans that got upset. Look, I don't know what it was. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and not to change the topic to Joshua, but I really don't know. Rather, he was simply not interested. Maybe he was just outclassed. Maybe he was overconfident. Maybe he thought, oh, I'm bigger, and eventually I'll land a big punch and it'll all be over. I'll let him do his thing, and then I'll land a big punch. I don't know what it was, but he knew he lost. Like, when they called that fight, you can see the look on his face. He couldn't wait to get out of the ring. He couldn't wait to get up out of there. And that's what Stormy's talking about, right? And so what I want to ask here for the chat and everybody on the panel as well is the thing that upset me the most, because I'm not a Joshua fan. I picked Usyk, obviously, on my channel, and I won money on that fight. So it don't bother me one bit, right? But one thing that did upset me was the way that Joshua left when Usyk's hand was raised to be the new heavyweight champ, right? He left. And my question is, to shed some light on it, what if that was Wilder? What if Wilder left the ring after his trainer threw the towel in and stopped the fight? What if he said, man, this is bullshit, I'm out of here, and just left? Didn't give a post-fight interview, nothing. I mean, he already got destroyed in the media with him staying in the ring and trying to speak to the people. He still got destroyed by the media for being stopped. People did, oh, see, he wasn't nothing. Fury exposed him. But imagine if he left. Imagine if he left the ring like Joshua did. He would have been crucified on a whole nother level, right? But he had the decency, as a champion should, to say, I want to thank the fans for showing up tonight. I want to thank the fans for supporting me through this time. I've been through some stuff behind the scenes. I don't want to make excuses. Fury was the better man tonight, and I got to go back home and figure out, what I'm going to do. But I'll be back. I'll be back. That's what Wilder said after the second fight. Joshua had a little smirk on his face and exited the ring. And I don't want to hear none of this, oh, his orbital bone must have been broken and he had to leave the ring early. I don't want to hear none of that, because I'll tell you why. People were saying that Wilder's eardrum was busted. They said his eardrum was busted. That's what they were saying. So Wilder could have used that excuse too to leave the ring. But he stayed in, didn't he? Because he cares. What's your thoughts on that, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he cares. he's super fan friendly, Deontay Wilder. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's about this money. You know, these guys, they all got family to feed. They all, you know, it's a job. It's not pride fighting. You know, it's prize fighting. And yeah, Deontay Wilder, definitely his style and everything like that is a lot more engaging for the fans. And AJ, I don't know, man. He was just, I understand him. I grew up boxing with Chad, Boo Boo Andre, all those slippery southpaws. Man, what a tough, you know, and Usyk's head movement and foot movement. There's not a heavyweight out there that has that, brings that to the table like that, you know, at that level. And yeah, I think he was just so frustrated, and he probably had his soul eaten away because he kept trying things, nothing would work. Like, it's easy to say, keep your left foot to the outside and throw the lead right, you know, the standard southpaw protocol. But man, when you're in there with a guy with all the different weapons and the different levels of experience Usyk has, it's trouble. So I think he was just bewildered, you know, Joshua. He was just bewildered and just left the ring. But I mean, yeah, respect to Wilder for being there for the fans, because he probably was very concussed after the second fight, you know, and he stayed there and, you know, he gave the fans what it is. You know, I'm not too worried about that stuff, though. I think all the fan stuff, all that stuff's not going to matter when it comes to the fight. Like Fury, all this stuff, not going to matter because, yeah, Deontay Wilder is very, very focused. He's not going to let any of that get in his head. And, yeah, we'll see. But, yeah, I don't make too much of the fan stuff. I don't think it's going to matter. Deontay Wilder's got the focus and super, you know, wearing the headphones. I like it. I think it was a good strategy not to buy into any of the pre-fight stuff. Waste the energy on his behalf.
Yeah, I agree. Because, I mean, he knew that the media was just chomping at the bit to ask him about the allegations and all this different stuff. And he probably just feels like everything has been said and I got nothing else to say. And he knows that Fury, his whole objective was to try to get in his head.
Yes.
You know, coming in shirtless, prancing around, doing his thing. And so, yeah, so Wilder knew, like, I don't got no time for this. Do want to give a shout out to the one and only Drew Titan. What's good, Drew? Appreciate your super chat, bro. Still not home, but listening to y'all cook. Yeah, we cooking in here. We'll be going for a little bit while longer, Drew. So if you get home, man, just let me know, and I'll give you the link, brother. Thanks for the super chat, man.
Salute
Stormy,
to Drew
did
Titan.
you have any? Yeah, for sure. I know he's always working on Saturday night, man. I know he's doing what he's got to do. But if we can grab him for a little bit, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Stormy, did you have anything to say about that?
You know I do.
Oh,
that's why I
I
got
shouldn't
the
even
mic
ask.
sitting in front of me, man. You know me. I won't turn down the chance to talk about
Yes,
this
sir.
thing. You know,
Let him
Listen.
know.
Regarding AJ walking out of the ring and Deontay, how he handled his loss to Fury in the second fight, and he took a much greater pummeling than AJ ever did in that 12 rounds in 7 rounds. Okay. And he stood there like a man and said, hey, you know, the better man won tonight, but I will be back, as you said. He was already thinking about, you know, I got to correct these wrongs. When AJ lost to Andy Ruiz in Madison Square Garden in 2019, he found himself a way to say or explain it away by saying it was a punch from the gods. Okay. Now, this fight with Usyk, he couldn't say it was a punch from the gods because he got hit so much. Which punch was it? But anyway, my comment on that all is this. You cannot coach character. Did you hear that?
I heard you.
You cannot coach character.
Mm-hmm.
You either have it or you don't, or it's questionable. Now, when he did speak to the press later, he said already He knew what he had done wrong, and in the rematch, he can go out there. Listen, how? In the 12th round, with 14 seconds to go, he looked on the verge of being stopped, and it looked like he was saying, I got to find a way to go down. This guy is putting this heat on me, and I just want out of here. When he went and sat on the stool after the bell finally rang early, let's not count that out, 6 seconds, almost 7 seconds to be exact, early, the bell ended the 12th and final round. The man that was sitting on that stool over there looked like a person who had emptied everything he had in the worst performance at the championship level that he's been in. He's got mental problems, people. And when I say that, I'm not trying to call him crazy. What I'm trying to say is the mental pressures of not being adept. Remember, this is someone who was having war words with Lennox Lewis, who is a much far accomplished personality in the sport and a Hall of Famer, right? But the disrespect that he showed, it says more about AJ and his character. AJ has been given a free reign of walk in life. They've prepared this seat for him. They prepared all of this. And Alexander Usyk came along and showed him that a fighter with class and accomplishment and championship caliber can take it away just like that. This wasn't a cherry pick. This was a champion, an accomplished fighter. Usyk was brought into the training camp for Vladimir Klitschko when Klitschko was getting ready to face Tyson Fury. He was whooping on Vladimir Klitschko in the training camp, and they had to put him out of there because they had witnesses in the camp, and they was like, this guy, who is he? Go back and look up some interviews with Johnny Nelson talking about it. But people don't know. When you talk about an accomplished fighter, and you got Brian here who can attest to this, speaking about world class, it doesn't matter if you're world class at the amateurs, if you're world class at the pros, if you're a championship for a champion from the Olympics or a champion in the pros. Class tells all. Class tells all. And when you don't have it, you look for ways out. It was Usyk's personality and character that didn't stop AJ in that fight. Usyk is not in there to hurt or damage someone, but he had a resounding victory. He cemented his victory with his efforts. But he could have stopped AJ, but that's not his personality. You saw the man return his championship belts to him in the locker room. He didn't take them home and everything and have to get shipped new ones and all of that. He took the man his belts right back. Didn't even take pictures with him outside the ring and everything. Like some fighters want to carry the fights, go home, carry the belts, go home, do parades and all that with the belts. He didn't even do that. That's class. So as I said, you cannot teach, you cannot coach character or class. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Do you have any follow up with that, Brian?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, Usyk's a different, completely. He's like the X factor in the heavyweight division, and he's not that small. Like he's small compared to these new, AJ, Wilder, Fury, these new massive heavyweights. But a few years ago, he would have just been a normal size heavyweight, But the elusiveness, the angles, man, dudes don't bring that to the big guys. You don't see it much. Usyk's so talented. But we'll see with Wilder's new training. He may, that's what I mean, those angles and all that, it makes a huge difference. And Stormy, I was going to say how you were saying he was in camp before Fury with Klitschko. My friend Cassius was in camp with Fury before the Klitschko fight. The opposite, And, he just was saying how Fury knows, kind of like Floyd Mayweather, knows every second of every round what to do. He's not necessarily super powerful but he knows everything. It's going to be super, very savvy. Yeah. And that's where that's where it's going to be interesting because I see Wilder coming out and he's going to offer so much new angles and new things. Fury's going to be second-guessing himself. But with that savviness, after round 6, he's still going to have answers. He's still going to have layers and, ways to change his style. So it's going to be very interesting to me.
He's
super
going to have
hard
to get
pick
to
a
round
winner.
6.
Yeah, facts. You never know.
I'll tell you what's going to be really key here is that body work. I'm telling you, because that's something that Wilder wasn't doing, even in his other fights. Mm-hmm. I had always talked about this. I was like, man, when guys can punch, Julian Jackson, one of the most devastating punchers in the history of boxing. Could you imagine if Julian Jackson, understanding that Gerald McClellan was a heavy puncher himself, but was prepared to break McClellan down to the body, because McClellan was coming down from extremely high weights to drain himself for 160 pounds. And if Julian went into that with the strategy, this is what I would have offered to him. You go in there and you break him down in the body for the first 3 or 4 rounds. With the way you punch, he ain't going to be able to stay in there. He ain't. But that's a different situation and story. But I'm saying about the body work in this fight is going to be integral. And understand that if Fury thought he would go to Deontay's Wilder, that means he's got to be closer to Wilder, which he really doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be in close to him because he doesn't want that man to hit him. And that's the thing that's going to be different, because the variety of punches that will come now are punches that Fury has not seen from this man in 2 fights. They're going to come from different angles, and they're going to have different leverage on them. And remember, Wilder was not benching before this fight, in previous fights from the past. He's benched now, so he's a stronger man. Not more weight, more strength. I spoke to Malik Scott on Drew Titan's Sunday evening show, and I posed the question to him. I said, I wanted to always ask this question to someone close to Wilder. So Malik, there's no one closer. I see Wilder being a country strong man. He punches devastatingly with the right hand, but I'm of the belief that he can punch equally with the left hand because it's genetics. I said, but it was never cultivated. It was never brought out of him. I asked Malik, what do you think about my sentiments, Malik? He took a puff of his cigar and he smiled and he said, yeah, you're a smart guy. Listen, the left hand is integral, right? So why not use it? Wilder is going to be hitting this guy with so many lefts, he's going to be begging for the right. Mark my words.
Yeah, I want to real quickly jump in here. We got Ricky Williams in the building. If you guys don't know, Ricky also has his own channel out here. He's a content creator. It says, support the creators. Tio thought he could outplay Bob Arum. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that. And Ricky also just DM'd me, man, right now on IG. He said that he was obviously subbed to my channel and YouTube unsubbed him to my channel. So, FYI, YouTube be on those shenanigans. So every once in a while, y'all make sure that you go by your favorite channels every once in a while. Make sure that you're still subbed to those channels. That may be a reason why you guys are not getting notifications from certain channels out here when they go live or they drop content. So y'all keep your eyes open, man. Ricky just hit me up right now and told me that for some reason he was unsubbed. So yeah, appreciate the super chat, Ricky Williams, man. Y'all go check him out. He has his own channel out here. He's doing some amazing stuff. He has a thing called Taco Tuesdays where he lets people come on and talk boxing, man. Y'all go check out Ricky Williams. And thank you for the heads up, Ricky, about YouTube being on those shenanigans, man. It's a shame. So I want to switch another gear here real quickly. Oh, and before I do that, I noticed something. So back to the poll real quick. Most people, again, still Wilder. People are voting Wilder to win by TKO or KO. It's at 86%. But I noticed that we have 176 votes, which is good. That's a good outcome right there. But I only have 130 likes for this video. So we have like a 40-person discrepancy here when it comes to the poll and the actual likes. So let's get those likes up. We might as well go for 150 at this point, considering that we got almost 180 votes in the poll. Let's make it happen. So let me switch another gear, gentlemen. How do you see the heavyweight division unfolding? That is the next topic at hand. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake and for the sake of this conversation, or we can do both scenarios. We're boxing fans. We'll do both scenarios. Wilder beats Fury. Will we see a fight against Wilder Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world? Or somehow, some way, Usyk and Joshua does a rematch? Or somehow, some way, Wilder wins the WBC, he's put on the sidelines once again, and they're still going to make the Fury-Joshua fight, even though Fury just lost to Wilder and Joshua lost to Usyk. Will they still make that fight happen for the UK fans because they've been wanting it so badly? Right? So that's one scenario. Well, a few scenarios there if Wilder wins. If Fury wins, I think it's more of a simple equation. I think if Fury beats Wilder, they'll make Fury Usyk ASAP, in my opinion, because it's a two boxing styles and it's less risky, I guess you can say, for both fighters. So those are the scenarios on the table. I'll go ahead and kick it off and then I'll swing it around. Obviously, I got Wilder winning, and I have him winning in grand fashion. Obviously, not a good look for Fury. And to be honest with you, if he loses in a bad way against against Wilder, I don't know what he's going to do. He might retire. He's done it before. Fury has done it before. Let me remind people, he has done it before. And he did it the last time after becoming the heavyweight champion when he beat Klitschko. And he disappeared and got on drugs, and, we all have heard the story. So if he loses badly against Wilder, that might happen again, except he may not come back. We don't know. So my thing is, like I said, I think Wilder's going to win in grand fashion. Wilder's going to be propelled back to the top. And even the haters are going to have to submit. And if they don't submit, they're going to be silent. They got no choice, right? Then it's a matter of Usyk, Joshua, and other heavyweights. I think Usyk will fight anybody. I think Usyk will fight anybody. I don't think it'll be a matter of Usyk not wanting to fight. I think it's somebody trying to get in the way of it and trying to pull Usyk into somebody else, like a Joshua rematch or something like that. So I don't know what will happen after Wilder beats Fury. Maybe they'll force a Dillian White on Wilder or something like that. But obviously, I want to see Wilder Usyk for undisputed. Obviously. But I don't know what's going to happen. I'll let you guys give your thoughts on how you think it's going to play out. At first, I'll say this real quickly. At first, I thought, even though Joshua lost the way that he did against Usyk, I thought they would be talking already about a rematch. But I haven't heard that much. It's been pretty quiet. And Joshua may not want it. He might be like, I got nothing to do with this southpaw anymore. I don't want to deal with this southpaw anymore. I don't know. That may change in the next few months or so, and they might try to push that rematch. I don't know. So I'll go ahead and swing it over to Stormy. How do you see it playing out, Stormy B-Man? Heavyweight division.
Well, Wilder defeats Fury. It depends on how long he wants to hang around after that. I do believe that he wouldn't mind trying to go for the undisputed opportunity, particularly if it's going to be Usyk. Even after a rematch with Joshua, I could see him beating Joshua even easier in a rematch. It would be up to the promoters if they want Usyk to fight Wilder. Now, he could veto the promoters and be like, I want the fight for undisputed, like fighters used to do. And I do believe Usyk is of the strong character that he would allow himself that great challenge. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. It will be a heck of a fight for Wilder because the man is extremely skilled. That would probably be a tougher fight for Wilder than the third fight with Fury, because Usyk can box, he can move, he can get in and out, he can get shots off on weird angles. He's not afraid, and he's a winner. He's a proven winner. Wilder would have to be able to match some of the boxing that's in there and hope to set him up for something. But in the meantime, Usyk is going to be going to work. I stated that I think the one downfall that Usyk has, and salute to Brian for saying this earlier about him being, he's not a small guy. He's 6'3" and 221 pounds as of his last fight. That's not a small dude. His face, will it be able to hold up due to all the amateur fights he's had? And now he's in the pros. He doesn't have a lot of pro fights under his belt, but he fought in the amateurs for a long time and everything. You'll see guys who have had these long, extensive amateur careers and then moved into the pros after being Olympians. Their face don't hold up for some reason. And you can see it in Vasily Lomachenko now too. He started to show a lot of damage on his face because the skin tissues has only so much resistance and everything in there from being punched over the years and whatnot. That would be what's more threatening to him, because he was busting up against Joshua, and Joshua wasn't even landing a lot of stuff on him. It wasn't so much about Joshua's punching power. It's the fact that resistance, and Brian knows what I'm talking about when I say that. The skin texture, as you age, and he's 34 years old, it's like it changes. You can get cut easier and stuff like that as you get well into your 30s. So that's something that he's going to have to use even more head movement and things like that. But I do believe if he gets the chance to unify for undisputed, win, lose, or draw, Usyk will go out after that, because that's what he has set his goals for. Deontay as well wants to be undisputed. So with that, either those guys, if they could face one another, that might be the swan song for the winner. And then we can see some of these young guns come up and start vying for the titles all over again. And I'm going to tell you something. Leave AJ out of the equation.
I hear you. Before you jump in, Brian, I just want to play this real quick. I actually discovered this yesterday because, man, I'm always watching fights constantly. And I was revisiting a lot of Wilder's old fights. I watched all the the 2 fights against Ortiz. I watched the Stavern fights. And usually I just watch the fight and then I click out. But for some reason, I think I was making a beautiful omelet or something after this fight here. And this post-fight interview popped up. And I had forgotten about it, what Wilder said in this post-fight interview after he knocked out Bermain Stavern in the second fight in the rematch, right? And he says something very, very interesting in this post-fight interview, and let's take a listen.
Frustration that had built up. So much frustration. Man, it just seemed like my career, man, it's been crazy. So many guys ducking, so many guys using PEDs, bag me back. I just want to prove that I am the best. I know I'm the best. I just want to prove that I am the best. And what great place. Brooklyn, baby. What's up, baby? Don't y'all want to see one champion, one face, one name? You go by the name of Deontay Wilder, baby.
He just said it there himself. One face, one name. So we know what Wilder wants. We know what his goal is. He wants to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He'll go on and say here how he says that there's too many damn belts in the heavyweight division. Too many damn belts, and there should be one champ. And that's very interesting. Wilder is very clever and very smart than what people give him credit for. They just think he's this this backwoods dude from Alabama, doesn't know anything about anything, but he's much, much smarter than what people give him credit for, and he pays attention, and he understands the sport of boxing.
You were going to fight Povetkin
Ortiz, the PEDs took them out. People question the people that you've beaten, but you're only permitted to fight the people who will fight you. And you have 39 wins now and 38.
Let me comment on that real quick. And respect to Jim. He didn't beat around the bush. He said, you were supposed to fight Povetkin. You were supposed to fight Ortiz, but they popped dirty. Right? So you can only fight who you can fight, obviously. It's not your fault that these people are testing positive for banned substances. Okay? I want to revisit that comment there, and Deontay's about to answer it, but because people criticize Wilder's resume all the time. Oh, he didn't fight this person. He didn't fight that person. Either they were popping for banned substances or they were straight up ducking them. Period. And you're going to hear what he's about to say when it comes to people not wanting to fight him. FYI, reminder for all the people in the back, we got the haters listening and they're mad. They're punching air right now. They're real mad. Stormy, they're mad. But I'm going to
scratch the rear and get glad.
Yep. But I'm going to remind people that Deontay Wilder has never popped positive for any banned substance ever. Just let you know. Unlike your man Fury. Moving on.
8 knockouts. So the frustration comes partly because those guys don't want to fight you or they're on drugs or whatever the circumstance may be. What do you do now to entice and somehow get Anthony Joshua into the ring so that the fans can see what they want to see and you can get the fight that you want so desperately?
You know, I've been waiting on that fight for a long time now. Me versus A Juice and J. Listen, mate. I declare war upon you. Do you accept my challenge? Or you still gonna squat as you piss? I've been waiting for a long time, baby. I know I'm the champion. I know I'm the best. Is you up for the test?
All right, let's talk about Joshua in a moment, since
You heard it from the man himself. For all the people out there that said Wilder never wanted to fight Joshua. Wilder was scared of Joshua. There you have it.
AJ never even wanted to be near the same ring, outside or inside, with Wilder. He never wanted to be at any public face-offs or anything where the media and everything can capture them. He's actually shown that he's a fraidy cat when it comes down to Deontay Wilder. And it's a shame. But they've allowed that. The media has allowed that. They don't even ask AJ tough questions. They don't do. And Jim Gray, sometimes he sneaks in little snide jabs and remarks there too. But Wilder can only do what he wants to do. He knows that these people, meaning promoters and management companies and everything, are holding AJ away from danger. But they weren't able to do it last Saturday night, though.
Right. Brian,
yeah. Yeah, and I was just going to say, to be honest, when we're talking about the 4 big heavyweights right now, Fury, Wilder, AJ, and Usyk. Usyk was the worst matchup for AJ at all of them, in my opinion, with his movement. He really exposed the stiff UK, old school UK style in Joshua, you know? He really exploited that. That was like, yeah, bad. I think Usyk against Wilder, I don't know, because Wilder, he lets his hands go a lot more. He'll be more aggressive. You know, he won't sit back and think about it as much. And yeah, it's interesting. The style matchup is so interesting.
Would you say it's fair to say, Brian, that, you know, Joshua has this kind of like robotic style? He stands straight up, doesn't move his head a lot. You know, his jab is decent. You know, the UK fighters normally have decent jabs. Like Fury has a good jab.
Yeah,
but it's very like, very good fundamentals. But just don't don't move their feet
Textbook.
like they should to.
Textbook. Yeah, they're like textbook.
Yeah.
They're very straight. It's not like the America, more like hip hop style and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, freestyle. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
But it reminds me of Lennox Lewis, right? When he got knocked out by Oliver McCall, he went with Emmanuel Stewart and Kronk. He totally revamped his style. You know, he stepped up so much. And AJ, he hasn't wanted to do that. He wants to stay with his guy McCracken. And AJ has a few wrinkles. He can attack you with the standard UK boxing style, or he can sit back like he did in the Ruiz match and win on points. But yeah, he hasn't expanded his style like Lennox Lewis did. Lennox Lewis went and became a world, more. Yeah, he had the American style. He had everything, and AJ's kind of limited in that UK stiff style still.
Excuse me, Brian, not to cut you off though, but I want to make a point about what you said about, or like he used that stay back style and box Ruiz in their second fight. That was against a man who was not in shape to fight. That was against a man who couldn't do anything but walk around. He couldn't even get after AJ because he was 300 plus pounds when he came in there. This is the deception about AJ, because he's not a technically sound boxer, but he can do some things because of his size and reach, and he has pop on his punches. But he's chinny. It is not a mistake to make that assessment. He's definitely chinny, and he doesn't know what to do under pressure. When he's under pressure, he doesn't even know to reach out and grab a guy. So it's like he's totally deficient at the championship level of boxing in the heavyweight division. My problem with him was he going around making these remarks about other fighters not being elite when he has had nothing but assistance through his promotional team and referees that have officiated his fights and scorecards. I often say that you look at the two, he and Dillian White. Dillian White, when they faced off and AJ beat him in that fight, White hit him with a left hook that hurt AJ and had him wobbled and everything. AJ ended up prevailing. But since that fight took place between the two of them, White has advanced. He's gotten better. AJ has not. And they are not matching him up with quality competition because he's very suspect. I've said it time and again. He's the most vulnerable champion in the sport today. To have been like a unified champion, he's like the most vulnerable guy. So I don't believe in, giving someone accolades when they have accomplished very little. I see through clear glass lenses. This is not a person that if he had just taken the fight with Luis King Kong Ortiz, win, lose, or draw, take the fight. You'll learn something from it. You might even beat the guy. Beating him will give you an opportunity to gain more confidence in your abilities, and you'll maybe listen to your coaches a little more and say, okay, I can do this thing called boxing. But avoiding and sidestepping and going around the bushes and all of this stuff, it's like, for those of us who are old enough to look around and look at championship level boxing, he's not it. He's not.
Yeah.
And before time and again that these guys that have been sitting on the sidelines developing, he's going to mess around till each of them become good enough to be contenders for each of those belts that he had. And it's happened already, but it's just the guy that we weren't even expecting to do it, who decided to move up to the heavyweight division, who fast-tracked his way in because he was a champion at cruiserweight. But the Philip Hergovics, the Jared Andersons, the Effie Ajabas, and all of these other guys, Frank Sanchez, these men are good, and they could take AJ right now. Hell, Danny Dubois was taking him in the gym already with 9 professional fights.
Yeah, AJ definitely had he definitely had the machine behind him because he has the look. He has the, he's sponsored by Under Armour. He had the machine behind him, and people are saying before the Ruiz fight, boxing fans are saying, "Oh, he's maybe the greatest heavyweight of all time." I'm just shaking my head like, man,
yeah. Shit. Look who just dropped by.
The truth.
The Druidist in the
What's good,
building.
y'all? What up?
The
What
man
up?
got
What up?
off work and he said, "Man, I gotta drop by and give some thoughts." What's good, my man?
That was good. What's good, y'all? Brian, what up?
Chilling, man.
What
Good to
up?
see you, bro.
Likewise, bro. Stormy, Divine Sense. What's good, y'all?
Yo, you
Good,
know
good.
what it is, man. Waiting
Chilling,
on
man,
you.
chilling. Salute to the chat, man. I see y'all came home as soon as I can. You know what I mean? I got to come get some of this, man. It's fight week, and this is all we talking about. Everything else is second. Moving forward. And this is no disrespect to Bud and Porter. No disrespect to Canelo and Caleb, but this is fight week. And I'm going to be in Vegas, and a lot of us are going to be in Vegas, and this is a celebration because without disrespecting everything else that's happening, I want y'all to understand that the universe is 360 degrees. And what we're seeing now is everything righting itself, everything fixing itself. What people are realizing is when they called us complainers for pointing out obvious corruption in boxing and unfair treatment, it turns out when people laughed at us and they trolled us, it turns out that we've just been right the entire time. We don't have to scream and holler and yell. And as aggravating as it's been, you don't have to try and convince anybody when they've seen what you've seen. But the way they interpret it is all wrong. We saw the gloves. We know Deontay ain't feel well, all right? And even if you don't accept it, I have reasonable cause to believe to believe him. I have reasonable cause to believe him because the man is not a liar, unlike the man he's facing. All right. And I can go on and on and on about when I say the universe repairing itself in boxing, they call us racist for pointing out certain things. And I say, well, look, is there racism in boxing? They'll say no. And I tell them to go talk to Mike Fox and his father. And that conversation is dead. Ryan Garcia gets a pass for being mentally unstable, hasn't fought a fight. But as depressed as he is, he's Captain Twitter fingers. I want to do this, I'm going to do that. And he hasn't done anything. And now, because of the pressure of us talking about it, the WBC wants to remove him from the rankings. Okay? They move goalposts for Canelo. They move goalposts for Oscar Valpez. All of these things we've spoken about in the past before this even happened. And they called us things like racist and insecure. And all I'm telling people is just sit back and watch what's happening. Now, think about since February, think about what we've been told. And I'm going to be here to remind everybody for the rest of this week. Think about what we've been told. Deontay Wilder got beat so bad he should retire. That's what we was told. Remember that? He doesn't even deserve a third fight because he got beat up so bad. All we said was there's a contract that states he wants his rematch. And before ESPN even went off the air, we heard that he reenacted his rematch clause. That's what we heard. And then the circus started. He fired Mark Breland. Justice for Mark Breland. He shouldn't have did that. Wait a minute. He was with Deontay for the better part of a decade. And all y'all said about him was y'all disappointed. And I've talked to people in the industry disappointed with Mark because he's not showing Deontay anything. All he throws is a right hand. No, that's just the hand that's landing, that's getting people out of there. But y'all spent 10 title defenses in 10 years ripping Mark. And the second Deontay fires him, now y'all Mark Breland fans. None of that makes sense. Now, the best we've seen Tyson Fury was back in February of 2020. It doesn't get any better than that. He's not going to get any better than that.
But since we've watched Deontay in all of his fights, a majority of them are on YouTube, you see the progression. And what we see right now is something that we didn't think we'd ever see. That's why the haters want Mark Breland back, because if he was there, we wouldn't be seeing this. And everyone's running scared. This is why they didn't want the third fight. Think about what they told us. They lied to us all the way up until the day before the ruling of the arbitration. In fact, ESPN never mentioned the arbitration, not once. During this whole fiasco, they never mentioned it. The only people talking about it was us. And Deontay wasn't even talking about it because he wasn't talking. Remember, he was depressed. Remember that? He wasn't even talking about it. So what we had here is what I called an organized effort, right, to get this man out of the sport. That's what it was. It was an organized effort. And it was, and what made me enraged was it was a joint effort. Yeah, that's right, Watcher. Where is Stephen A. Snitch? That's a great question, because he's been quiet. But you know what I always say, fellas, time reveals all truth. And I'm glad the Watcher, who keeps me abrupt to think, because I don't catch everything, and that brother's really good on giving me information.
Yes, he is.
What's funny is I say time reveals all truth. He messed around and got Max Kellerman out of here, who's no saint. But shout out to Champ's side, because he brought out the news that the worst program on ESPN, the most least watched, is who? Stephen A. Snitch program. So don't be surprised if that rock he threw in that glass house comes back to bite him in the ass. He's the least watched person on ESPN. Champ's side put up the numbers. Now what happens? What happens is, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We could talk about that. Let me get to that. How fitting would it be if they get Stephen A. Snitch and move him somewhere else and bring Max Kellerman back to do his own show? How funny would that be? But remember, the media, it was a joint effort. Old media, he's not talking to us. He's depressed. He shouldn't have fired Mark Breland. Meanwhile, they hated on Mark Breland for all 10 title defenses. All right. And look at the man that they embraced, the 6'9" bald-headed guy from across the pond. But some of those guys that rooted for him wear MAGA hats. Now, why is that important? Who's American in this? And I don't like playing that card. You know, if you're good, you're good. And remember, when Fury won the second fight, before we even knew about Glovegate and everything, because that wasn't until about 8 days later, we congratulated him. That's all we did. We congratulated him. Matter of fact, people had to force me to watch the floppy glove, to watch from the first fight and the deflated glove in the second fight. And then we didn't find out about poisonous water until later on. And then we say, wait a minute. We know this about Fury with John McDermott and everything else, and detached thumbs against Christian Hamer. And then when you put all this stuff together, I say, look, we got a case, man. This guy's a cheater because he's done this shit before. He's done all of this before. And we point out all of this evidence, but we're crazy, we're racist and everything else. Look, these are the facts. These are the facts. But when you don't want to hear it, there's something wrong with you. And I'm not even talking about the people across the pond. Ride for your guy. What I'm talking about is American media. I know I don't know for a fact, but I've heard that Rick Glasser is a Trump guy. Stop right there. If you're a Trump guy, off the bat, you want to make America great again, the American heavyweight champion lost. So if you're going to cap for anybody, you should be capping for Deontay. You should be. By hook or by crook, no matter what. And even if you think it's an excuse, does he not deserve the benefit of doubt? Why is it that we can find all of these things out? Because it's in plain view. But you don't even want to mention it. You want to troll. That's what Rick Glasser did. 60-year-old man. He trolled. He putting up pictures of him getting hit in the face.
And to that point, Drew.
Yeah, go ahead.
To that point, just real quick, to that point, Remember when he lost his second fight? Instead of the American media saying he's still our champion, we're going to support him for his comeback, they came out and was like, oh, you see, he was exposed.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't nothing. We don't need this guy to represent the American heavyweights. We'll wait for somebody else. That's what they were saying.
Excellent point. And then they want to wonder why he's not talking to them. Because a lot of those people that said things like that have his phone number. Instead of calling
and how about
him,
Larry Merchant, who came up out of the tomb?
Bro, listen, let me get on that.
Today, I woke up with a smile on
with a smile on my face. What are you smiling at?
The morning after Wilder lost to Fury, he comes on.
Bye, Miss American Pie. Is this the last of the great black hope? That's what he said, and I lost it. All right, I almost took my Timberland boot off and threw it at my damn screen because I couldn't take it. And the first thing I said when I saw him sitting there, I said at the PBC, "Who the F is asleep at the wheel? Who let him in the house?" This is what I'm talking about. And it didn't help me watching Sean Porter sit there smiling. I said, did right over his head, did he catch what was being said? When he said that, he was supposed to get up and walk off the set. Or at least mean mug him. Like, yo, I know you, I know what you're doing, but I'm being professional right now. He pulled the Dillian White. But I let all of that go. Because what did I say? I said, this is bad, but this is all going to come full circle. So then what happened? COVID happened. Now, I know for a fact that they were ready to go when they started opening things up. They were ready to go last October. He wasn't ready to go. Then they were ready to go in December. And then we started seeing pictures of him versus Adjit Kabayel, and then we heard Carlos talk, and we was like, whoa. And then that's when D started talking. He's trying to fight everybody else but honor this contract. And then that's when things started going rolling. But here's my question to the panel. Between February of 2020 and now, July 24th was postponed because of why? COVID, right?
Yep.
Did y'all miss that he said that was the second time he had it?
Mm-hmm.
So did he catch that before or after they put the kibosh on the Kabayel fight and Takam fight, or was it before or after October? So between the 24th of July and February of 2020, somewhere in between that, he caught COVID the first time, because he said July 24th, around that time, was the second time. So my thing is this. Before there was that means he caught it before there was a vaccine. So my thing is this: why wasn't that news? Because people, when you got it, when we first heard about it, when people got it, you thought they were going to die. That's how powerful this thing was. So if Tyson Fury, the newly crowned WBC heavyweight champion, caught COVID, wouldn't you think that'd be news? Now watch this. Even if they kept it on the low, I don't know why. Even if they kept it on the low, he just said he caught it twice. Why isn't anybody from the media focusing in on that? Whoa, you had it twice? Bob Arum didn't say that. Don't you think Bob Arum would have said, my champion has COVID? Don't you think he'd have said that? But you know what Bob Arum did say? He had COVID, and then he went to go see him. Y'all remember that? When he said he went to go see him, and I said, what is his 90-year-old ass going into the same house with a man that has COVID? How about this? The same reason why a man that had COVID goes to buy cars and goes on a boardwalk down the walk in Las Vegas and takes pictures with fans. The man never had it. Shirtless. The man never had it. So if you guys want to believe this man, fine. But I know what it's about. Your hate for the American champion is so great that you will disregard this man's entire background. But tell me I'm lying about this guy. If you put Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury in your house and you leave them there for 3 hours and you come back and they're standing there and you look into your safe and all the jewelry's missing and the money's gone, and you say, and the choices are between one of those two guys, who the hell are you going to suspect first? Come on, man. And this is the wild part. How many times did ESPN say, okay, yeah, unification, right? Mind you, he won arbitration, and they blamed him for ruining Undisputed. Go figure that. But let me ask you this. Biggest fight in UK history had to be held in Dubai. It couldn't be held on UK soil.
Yep.
Because why?
Banned.
The man has no license to fight in his own country. But this is the guy that y'all want? This is the guy? Not the guy with the 98% KO ratio who will throw caution to win, will fought King Kong Ortiz twice. Will risk getting hit so he could land it. This guy is everything that we said we wanted in a fighter, because we just came off of a decade of Floyd Mayweather, and people would complain about that. Nobody can, oh, he don't knock nobody out. I don't want to see anybody box. Enter Deontay Wilder, who's underweight in the division.
Drew, Klitschko's in the heavyweight division too. They were so boring. Then you get Wilder who's coming out and he's throwing bombs, and he's vulnerable. His defense isn't perfect, but he's coming out exciting fights.
He's coming out exciting. He's giving everything that you want in a fighter, right? And damn near throwing caution to the wind, giving you exciting fights, has the gift of gab, not ducking. He has to look for people to fight. Nobody wants to fight him. All right. Had to fight King Kong Ortiz twice. That was the only guy that made me nervous. I said, if anyone could stop D, it's him. Indeed knocked him out twice, man. But these guys, after a decade of dominant Floyd, right? Ripped Floyd. This guy's a complete opposite, underweight in the division where the killers are, in a division that matters. In a division that matters. And these people have a problem. You can't tell me there's no racial aspect of it, because if this was Tommy Morrison today, it'd be an uproar. It'd be an uproar. So, so when we speak on it, this is what we're talking about. So Tom is revealing the truth on it. You can't tell me, you just can't tell me any old thing. ESPN can't tell me any old thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, from being in the boxing industry, like Danny Jacobs. I used to train with Danny Jacobs. Man, he had the cancer story. He could be like the all-American hero, but the African-American fighters only get the publicity when they play the bad guy. Like they only get, that's where the money comes from. Because Floyd Mayweather, when he was champion at 130, Genaro Hernandez and all that, he didn't do the money Mayweather. He didn't make the big bucks. He started playing. It's an act, It's an act. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. And listen, man, Deontay Wilder is the story of stories. I mean, you're giving me a movie about Mickey Ward, and I didn't have a problem with it, but I would rather have seen a Naturo Gatti movie, especially how he was murdered. It wasn't suicide; he was murdered. That's what it was. How about a short story about Emmanuel Augustus? Very underrated, top quality guy. And his career's over some coward shot in the head.
What about Vernon Forrest?
Vernon Forrest, another one. These are things that come on. These are things that Deontay Wilder, we almost didn't get him. Okay? He had to step off of a beer truck and say, yo, look, I have a handicapped daughter. I can't support her while doing this. I heard I could fight. Let me go. Boom, boom, boom. He's in the Olympics. The only fighter to even get a medal that year in 2008, went pro. From then until now, that's a feat. He wasn't supposed to happen. And every time we've watched him, look at his first fight all the way up to him hitting pads with Malik Scott. What you've seen is progression. And every time they say he's doing something wrong, knockout, 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 knockout. They wait until they drug the man, cheated him twice, got a draw, and then got a loss out of him, right? To talk about, see, we told you he wasn't shit. That's just wrong, man. And when I hear Americans do that, there's something wrong with y'all. Y'all don't know anything about this man. And we're telling you this man is the goods, and he's the American story. They need to make a movie. When he's done, they need to make the story about him. That's the American dream. Against all odds, living below the Mason-Dixon line in Alabama, had the weight of the world on his shoulder, handicapped kid. All right. The media didn't like him. Fans didn't like him, but there was a core group like ourselves that are impartial that say, yo, look, man, you got to give this guy credit. Does he have supreme boxing skill? No, he doesn't. But look at that heart. Look at that right hand. That's the equalizer. And now that he's got, see, this had to happen. And this is why people are aggravated. This had to happen. Because if it doesn't happen, let's say we got another draw in that rematch. He doesn't change anything. Right. He doesn't change anything. Mark Breland is still there. And they just go in there and wing it again.
Right.
This had to happen because Fury had to get exposed. He was getting away with it in the UK. Now they over here, and he's trying to sweep it under the rug. You see, this is why guys like Ioli and Ishe Smith and Steve Kim and Dougie Fisher and Rick Glad, they'll never come on our platforms because I'll ask these questions. Fat Dan Raphael, I'll ask these simple questions. It's not intimidating. I ain't got a name caller. I call Dan Raphael fat. He get on my nerves. He led the witness on that call. Are you annoyed with all the excuses? You didn't ask Deontay that.
Oh, man.
You didn't ask Deontay that because you know they're not excuses. Because you know what I'd ask Fat Dan Raphael? Dan, is there cheating in boxing? Bottom line. Just answer the question. Yes or no. Is there cheating in boxing? Well, yeah, but they ain't no yeah, but.
But that's what Caleb. That's what Caleb Plant did at the press conference.
Yeah,
the dude said, "Hey, Caleb, do you think Canelo's cheating?" And Plant said, "Was he suspended for 6 months?" Thank you. You got to ask me a dumbass question.
He wasn't cheating. He was suspended. How about this? Do you think is there cheating in boxing? Did Canelo have clenbuterol in his system? Yes or no? Yes. Is that normal? Boar meat? Do you believe that? Go eat a steak right now and tell me and then take the same test he did. And I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, they took a hair test, the follicle test. Yeah, it was like 3 months later or 3 weeks later. Man, shut that up, man. Stop capping for these dudes, man.
PEDs in training camp are part of the game nowadays. PEDs in training camps are part of the game, man.
And when the WBC moved the goalposts right in his face, they did it in our face.
Yeah,
like yo, we did it and what? And I was like, okay, well, I don't know if they'll do that again. And then enter Oscar Valpez, and I said,
for the right people,
and I don't know.
Do it.
Yeah,
I don't know if you caught this earlier, Drew. I don't know how long you've been listening, but we brought this point up earlier when Brian first came on. Brian won the national championships in 1999. He went to the Olympic trials. He lost, right? So he has a very distinct outlook or insight, if you will, about the sport of boxing. And so everybody that joined into this live late, that's why we brought Brian on here. And we randomly met up yesterday at the boxing gym, did some sparring. And then afterwards, we just started having a conversation. I played a video earlier of Brian, back in the day when he went pro and knocked a dude out with the left hook to the body. I then went and thanked Brian for not doing that to me in sparring yesterday. But nonetheless, this is why we put this work out there.
Yeah.
Drew Titan out there putting in work, bringing in Malik Scott, bringing in other people, Stormy B-Man with the Three Wise Men, doing his work on his channel. I'm doing work for my channel. I go out there. I go to the gyms. I ain't just sitting on my ass talking on the mic. We come out here. I said, Brian, what's good? And Brian's like, I love boxing. Yeah, let's do some sparring. Cool. Let's connect. Bring him on. He's bringing some beautiful insight here. And to Drew Titan's point, for all the people out there wondering, why do you guys keep talking about this? The fight is October 9th. Let the men fight. There's a reason why we talk about this. Because to Drew's question, he asked the panel and the chat. Basically, he asked a question saying this. Why is it that Fury is able to get away with all this stuff? Why are the American people, like Drew said, forget about the UK, support your man. It is what it is. But people living here in America, if you're going against Wilder right now, and you're going for Fury, after all of the stuff that we've been talking about in a heightened sense, especially this past like 3 or 4 months. We've been talking it for years, but specifically these past 3 or 4 months. After all the stuff we brought to the table, him saying he got COVID, but he's out in town, all this different crazy shit, right? We can go for days about it.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, if you don't at least take a second to think about it, then you got a problem. Now, if you don't like Wilder because of his style and you like a boxing slick style that Fury has and you're trying to ride with that, I guess it is what it is. But again, if you're in America and you say, oh, I always support American fighters, I support American heavyweights, you need to seriously think about it, because this is why we keep talking about it. It's a constant reminder. It started off as a humble reminder, and then it became flames.
That's right.
Because people weren't listening. People just shrugged their shoulders at the stuff that Fury was getting away with. And we constantly ask the question. I know Drew does this all the time. So does Stormy. We ask people all the time, okay, what if the tables were turned? I never get an answer, ever. If Deontay popped positive for PEDs, if Deontay Wilder became addicted to cocaine and dropped out of the sport, right? Ballooned up to 300 plus pounds. All the different stuff. If the tables were turned, how would the media treat Deontay? And I never get an answer, because Drew, Stormy, Brian, they don't want to hear the truth. But this is why I always tell people this fight, this trilogy fight, October 9th, fight week, is much more than just a heavyweight bout. There's so much intertwined into this. So much emotion, so much just passion. And at the end of the day, you're right. Let the two men fight. Well, they're about to fight. They're about to fight. And I've been the one beating my drum telling people October 9th will happen. It is inevitable. Now, we don't know what kind of shenanigans Fury might pull in the fight itself. And I've been kind of saying, hey, I talked to Tay Jones a couple days ago. I said, do we know who the ref is yet? No, we still don't know. We still don't know who the ref is going to be. So all of these little fine little intricate details matter in a fight of this magnitude, because we know that Fury's savvy. He's a savvy vet, right? We know he's going to get the headlocks in. You know he's going to lean on him.
Pull up Dr. Hook's comment.
Punches.
Pull up Dr. Hook's comment. That's perfect.
Let's check it. Dr. Hook says Fury won the Fighter of the Year award in the U.S. despite not fighting in over a year. Clarissa became 2-division undisputed champion, the period considered. That's crazy.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
That's absolutely crazy. Now, so I just wanted to let people know, because people get disgruntled and they get frustrated. Like, oh, why y'all keep still talking about this, man? You just talk about the fight. Well, we were talking about the fight. All right.
We were trying to talk about the fight for a year.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to talk about it. They wanted undisputed. But we was like, yo, you got a contract. We've been trying to talk about this for a year. And to your point, Divine Sense, to your point, look at what Ever went through, and he volunteered his information about his eye. And they were saying he was running from Manny Pacquiao. This is the treatment. So when we say this is obvious racism, no one wants to hear it. We're playing a race card. Look at how they treated Errol. He called out Manny. You think he wanted that to happen from him? He would call him out just to duck? Well, he got in the ring with Ugas and still got hammered, but he got off light with Ugas. That's the universe working in Manny's favor, because if Ugas did that to him, Errol would have stopped Manny in 6 or 7 rounds. It'd have been ugly. He got off easy, and I'm glad the brother retired and got out the game, because he was going to get hurt if he fucked with Ugas again. But that's just my opinion.
Man, watching that Ugas fight, man, by the 9th, 10th round, I was already like, it was already a guarantee in my mind. If this was Errol Spence that we were watching, it would have been bad, man. It would have been bad. We talking about you know, we talking about Larry Holmes versus Muhammad Ali, you know, that type of bad.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that's clearly old, a guy that clearly not the same, doesn't have the same pop, doesn't have the same hand speed, especially at 147. Especially at 147. People forget where Manny Pacquiao came from. He did good. He won belts at 147, 150 catch weights and whatever have you. But the dude, he's a small dude. All right. You go up in there against Earl Spence, who probably walks around at 160 plus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he drains, you know, he doesn't drain himself, but he cuts weight to make 147. He is a true bona fide welterweight.
Yeah.
He will rip Manny to the body like Manny probably has never felt since he fought Antonio Margarito, who is a 10 times slower fighter than Earl Spence is. So
Margarito did some things in that fight people might not remember, but he did some things in that fight.
Manny had to run away one round, but Margarito got a little body shot in, and Manny went running.
Yeah, he sat on the ropes. I remember that.
Yep.
He sat his ass on the ropes. I remember that.
And if it wasn't for Manny's hand speed, Margarito would have walked him down and beat him up. Because, you know, Margarito don't care about getting hit. We know this. He don't care about getting hit.
Watcher said I'm sorry. I'm reading the comment. Roger said we need a big authoritative ref for this fight. I'll say Jay Nady. Jay Nady's pretty big. Jay Nady's like 6'3". He's a big guy.
That's a good point. None of these little small referees who can't break up heavyweights.
Yeah.
We got two big-ass men in there.
Yeah.
Strong men, right? Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say Steve Smoger has always been my favorite referee. I know Steve since I was a kid. He's so good, but he couldn't hit. Like in a heavyweight matchup, you need somebody that can get physical, especially with these guys, because I assume Tyson Fury is going to be looking to wrap up and lean on him and do all that stuff again also. Yeah, that ref's going to – the ref's going to have a workout, bro. He's going to get his, he's going to earn his money.
Yeah. Jay Nady's a big guy.
Yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, for sure. And guarantee, I've been saying it, people haven't really been thinking about it because we're so fixated on the fight. But it is very important on who the ref is going to be. I don't want to see no Kenny Bayless. I don't want to see no Jack Reese.
No.
Okay. I want to see someone who is fair, unbiased, and firm. And you're going to be able to handle these two men. Yeah. Well, whose saying was that?
Mills Lane, right?
No, that wasn't Mills Lane. Fair, but that was Steve Smoger.
Okay,
no, that was Cortez. That was Cortez.
Cortez. Okay.
Cortez.
Okay.
That was Cortez. Yeah.
I knew it was a Hispanic last name. But yeah, so we need somebody to go in there and be able to handle these two men, because if you don't have a ref in there who can deal with Fury, because Fury's definitely going to get Wilder in the clinch at some point in this fight, if not several times, especially if he's hurt. Grab, hold, pull, tug, headlocks and shit like that.
Let me say this, and I'm glad you brought that up. You remember when what Malik Scott was saying? You remember towards the end of the show when he was putting emphasis on the clinch? Stormy, you remember that? When he put emphasis on how important the clinch was? He was letting you know that they anticipate Fury trying to be dirty in the clinch. And that's what we didn't see on these highlights. We saw Deontay hitting pads and footwork. He's not showing the clinch moves for a reason.
Right.
And I suspect that was a huge part of their camp that they worked on. And that's the part that they didn't leak out. And Malik
Drew, did I hear somewhere? I'm not sure if it was your channel, maybe Champ Side, but somebody said that maybe it was Tay. I don't remember, but somebody said that they brought in somebody for the clinching that has a wrestling background for Wilder.
Oh shoot. He didn't say it on mine.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I heard that. Somebody said that they brought in like a Roman Greco wrestler who had a little bit of boxing background.
Yeah.
They worked specifically on the clinching and the wrestling and shifting your weight and getting out of situations. So
Dave just said in the chat, he said Malik alluded to having a clinch coach, and all he said on my show was that's very important. So it wouldn't surprise me if they brought in somebody to work that clinch. There's little things, and people, and I'm sure Brian knows, the clinch is so important. It is so important, man. I mean, for those of you that's never wrestled, there's parts where you could clinch and you can actually rest, and then there's parts where you're trying to position, and that is exhausting.
Exhausting.
You know someone that can do it, it is exhausting. There's little tricks you can do with your head, because wherever you push the head, the body goes. There's little tricks. Laying your head, you know the tricks. Lay your head on someone's chest, put it on the jaw, move it, grow your beard out, rub it in their eye. There's all kinds of things you can do. I'm just saying. I even know tricks with the legs. Take your knee, put it inside of someone else's knee, get them to move. There's all kinds of tricks. There's all kinds of tricks. The clinch is very important. Very important.
Stormy, did you want to jump in on that?
No, it's just that's what I was alluding to earlier when I told you that you will see. Yeah, that's that's why I said, you listen, this is about being excited, not jittery or nothing like that. You're going to see a different fighter.
Yeah.
You're going to see a different fighter.
Yeah, simple as that.
That opposing camp will be shut up and shut down. There's a lot of mad people across the U.S. A lot of mad people across the U.S. because there are places outside the U.S. that got tremendous love for Deontay Wilder and wish that he were their own. You understand? It's amazing that this situation that we see, they'd rather choose ethnicity over unity. And it's amazing that people still buy into that. We saw evidence of that earlier this evening when that moron entered your private chat. You see?
I miss that.
You have to speak it like it is. There's a great amount that you haven't seen, and you probably won't even get to see it all during the fight because the fight won't go that long. But you'll get to see what is necessary. Huh?
Yeah.
You'll get to see what's necessary. And I believe that, I'll stress it one more time because I know Drew came in later. I said, Drew, I let it be known out here that I'm expecting a submission by Fury. Not the typical Deontay stoppage, a KO. I expect submission. And why? Because of the output of what will be heaped upon him. It will be heat like he never had before, but at the same time, it's the greatest way to humiliate the guy.
Yeah. I got a question for you, Stormy.
Yeah.
What is in all years of watching fighters, what is an example of you've seen a fighter that fought one way, was successful, then had a little trouble, and then did a complete 180 and became something totally different for the better and may have extended their career? Is there a fighter that comes to mind?
Marco Antonio Barrera.
Yes.
When he came out, he was almost a carbon copy of Julio Cesar Chavez, but a little smaller. And he had a tremendous left hook, both to the head and to the body. And he could fight. He had a lot of heart and everything, but Barrera was banging people out of there, and he was looking like, the new and second coming of Julio Cesar Chavez until he ran into Poison Jr. Jones.
Yeah.
And Poison Jr. Jones made him reconsider life as a fighter. And what happened, this is what I talked about earlier about Deontay losing to Fury. Marco Antonio Barrera became a more complete fighter. He went back to the basics. He started working off of a jab. He started moving around a little more, giving lateral movement and stuff, not just wading in to destruct and destroy. And the change probably added years on his career, but it also gained him tremendous victory because the man who defeated Prince Nassim Hamed was the product of the experiences of the losses that he suffered and got better after losses, because he did lose again after Poison. But at the same time, he always got better. So Marco Antonio Barrera came to mind as soon as you asked the question. This is my assessment after watching boxing. I can tell you these things. I could think of other fighters too, but that's one of the remarkable.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Before losing and then after. Brian, did you have something you wanted to say on that about my selection of Marco?
Yeah, totally agree with you. He came to my gym when he was the babyface assassin at 122, and he was killing the body with the hooks. And man, fucking Barrera's got long arms. He has a long reach. So even though he lost the Junior Jones rematch, he started the movement towards becoming more of a boxer, and he extended his career. He made so much more money and took a lot less punishment. That was a perfect example. Miguel Cotto kind of did the same with Pedro Diaz. He started incorporating more movement and things like that, but not as, not quite the same as Barrera, though.
Yeah. Devon, you get anybody come to mind?
I feel like Lennox Lewis made quite a few adjustments in his career. You know, he took a couple losses, always came back and avenged those losses, and you can see the differences that he made. He jumps to mind.
Hector
Camacho. Too. Who's that?
Hector Camacho after fighting Edwin Rosario. Hector did a whole change, man. And it's funny because he could box, but he used to love to go in there and knock people out with the whirlwind of activity. But once he got clipped those couple of times in that fight with Edwin Rosario, it was like a light switch came on, and he said, they can do to me what I've been doing to other people. I don't like that. So from that point on, he became very elusive and moving around and everything, sometimes to his own detriment. There's like he wasn't throwing enough punches in fights because Hector had power.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Edwin Rosario changed everything for him on that night. And he looked like, you know, the picture of a loss, even though he won that fight, but he totally changed his style after that.
I'm gonna go. I got two names, but I'm gonna go with I think Dazzling Urbanite said in the chat. Obvious one. And Stormy, you already George Foreman. When he came back, the second half of his career, complete 180, complete different. And I talk with my uncle and my father all the time. I said, man, if he was that smart of a fighter when he fought Ali, might have had a bigger problem, because George Foreman later in his career had better stamina. He knew how to pace himself, and he's standing in between rounds. I mean, that was unheard of. You know,
I think his defense was better too. He had better defense when he came back.
It wasn't the best, but it was good. You know, the crab defense. Very good. So he was a better fighter in the second part of his career. And the other person that comes to mind was Arturo Gatti. Gatti, after the first Ward fight, when he came back in that rematch, it was a different guy.
Yeah,
he
Buddy
was being
McGurk.
Slick. Yeah, with Buddy McGurk. He was slick, and that was a complete 180.
That's true.
I was like, oh, shit. It didn't look like everyone thought they was going to pick up from round 13, right? And it wasn't like that. He was slick. He was slipping shots, and he blew Ward right out the water. It was crazy. Oh, yeah, I saw that, Watcher. I saw that. And let me tell you, sidebar, that looks like a really good game. But I was saying the whole time, they got all these names. They got a lot of names in it. I said, if they got Tim Tszyu in this game and they don't put Deontay Wilder in it, I'm not buying it. That's crazy. How do you do that? But
I was just looking at the little trailer for it a moment ago, and it looks nice. It looks just like him too.
They announced Deontay, I think, last night, and but a couple of months ago they announced Tyson Fury. So I said, yo, if D's not in this game, I'm not buying it, man. They have all of these. They have that roster is very deep. I'm really big into video games. If y'all don't know, that roster is very, very deep. I still play the fight night. The roster is so deep. And I'm very impressed. But I said, if they don't have Deontay, and that's another reason why I think the world is turning and they're leaning towards Deontay. Why would they announce him being in the game this week? It was just strange to me. It was very
Mm.
strange. Everyone's abandoning ship. Ishii Smith talking about Fury don't look right now. I'm like, yo, look. I'm agreeing with Stormy. I'm picking Wilder to destroy this guy in 3 to 5 rounds. But I'm not gonna be surprised if D clip him and hurt him bad, and he don't come. Whatever round that happens, that's gonna be the round he's gonna quit in. If he don't get off his stool, he's gonna try and foul and bite and kick and scratch and make it a fight. And when it don't work, D's gonna whoop his ass. And I'm not gonna be surprised if he quit on the stool. I'm not gonna be surprised.
I'd be surprised if he quit on the stool. I just don't. I think he's got too much pride and ego. I think he would rather be knocked out. I think
that'll happen.
I think he'd rather be knocked out.
You're misreading his character totally, Divine. You're misreading that man's character totally. Remember, this is a person that comes from a culture of deception, deceiving, and cheating and getting over on people. They do not operate well under proper rule and directions and instructions and things of that nature. That makes them totally uncomfortable. So usually when a big baby can't have their way, what do? They
cry about it.
Yeah. Huh?
Cry about it.
So
yeah.
When you understand that, now you look at it, this is an adult. He's not a big baby. But look at how he's been allowed to behave all this time. So he's in a situation now, he's got to fight. In 20-something fights, he never displayed being a warrior. Never. And for those who want to beg to differ and say, well, against Otto Wallin with the cut on his eye and everything, but how much more physically imposing and everything was he over Otto Wallin? And Otto Wallin at that level probably wasn't prepared as far as conditioning to fight the fight that he fought. But you saw when he came back and fought Dominique Brazil, who's bigger than Fury. Okay. And you saw what he did to Dominique Brazil.
Yeah.
So experience is the best teacher. You understand? And understand that Wilder has experienced the second fight. There is nothing that Fury can do to him now that hasn't been done now. Knock him down, he's been down before. Stopped, he's been stopped. Now it's time for retribution. Now it's time for him to put Fury, as he said in that, what was it, an Instagram quote earlier? He says, next time, you don't get up.
Yeah,
the way that you take that away from a guy, the way that you take that away from a guy that's a clown, you strip him.
I'll tell you what, Stormy. I'll tell you what. If Fury quits on his stool or quits in general, I'll go into your next live and I'll give you a $20 super chat. How about that?
No, you don't have to do anything like that because there's many fashions of quitting. But I said submission; it's a different thing.
Yeah,
I hear you. I hear you. I'm just saying,
when I said submission, you understand? He can take a shot to the body and be like, ooh, and take that knee, right? And then just don't rise. He could go down from a shot and take the full count.
I got an example of that.
He could take a battering or a succession of shots and be like, I ain't going through this all night. Because
I got an example of that.
To work with. You understand?
I got an example of that, Stormy Pete. Watch this. Think of Aguero prior to. Aguero could have got up, but he knew what was going to happen if he got up.
Yeah.
I think, what was that, Morales Pacquiao 2 or 3? It was 3.
Yeah.
When he sat down and he looked at his corner and smirked and winked, he said, "No, I'm not getting up because I know what's going to happen. I can't beat this guy." So it now, if that happens, Stormy, to Tyson Fury, if he lays there and rolls over and just,
that's huge. That's
if
huge.
he just looks up like I'm recovered, I hear the count 5, but if I get up, it's going to be worse. So I'm just going to lay here and get my check and get Bob Arum out the red.
You could already hear the groundwork of this being laid when he gave that interview last week on that Zoom call, and he says, one thing's for sure, he's like, either I'm going to knock him out or he's going to knock me out. You never heard him talk like that before. Someone actually doing something to him.
Yeah. Now, if he does this, if he pulls an Oliver McCall, bro.
Yeah. I'm still rocking with KO, maybe a TKO. But I've seen more crazy things happen in the sport. If Fury quits, or especially if he quits. I mean, if he doesn't get up at the count of 10, not really surprised. But if he quits on his stool, I'll be surprised. To be honest with you.
But see, that's your envisioning of quitting. There's a number of ways to quit. This is what, listen, man, how many times I got to break it down for you? There are a number of ways to quit. Okay? But submission and quitting is two different things. Quitting is, I don't want no more, I'm stopping. Submission is, I resign to the fact of being able to be victorious.
Yeah. And that's bad to go out like that. That's bad.
Wilder's objective is to put punishment on this man. It's not to knock him out. It's not. You thinking about Wilder and everything that happened before the first fight that they had. This is not that man anymore. He's not. He has told you publicly, he says that guy is gone. He's going out there to enlist punishment on this man. He's going to hit him like he's never hit nobody else before. He might get hit with elbows. He might get hit with something that may look to the people like illegal. But guess what? It's retribution. And he's doing it against a person that got away with so much before, and these people awarded him for it. If somebody stripped you of your dignity in front of your family, and then people sang praises to that person, but you had a chance for redemption and to go after them again, you would make certain that they would not have the opportunity to humiliate you like they did the first time.
Do you think it's a possibility?
As Wilder said, 7 times over. Pay attention, people. Pay attention.
Now, I agree. I think he's going to beat him up. I think Wilder's going to beat him up and then get the late stoppage or knockout. But what about this, Stormy? What do you think about the possibilities of the ref stopping it? Like, Fury's taking such punishment and the ref just jumping in and waving it off. You think it's possible?
That's why I want to know who the ref is.
They get the opportunity to talk to the referees in the dressing room. He's going to let the referee know, hey, we expect to be able to work on the inside. We expect to, work out of clinches and everything. And I'm not going to complain if it gets a little rough. So I don't want to hear no funny business from you. This is a fight. And we're fighting tonight. And he's got the cornermen with him now that can be in unison with his ideology and approach to this fight. You have to understand, man, this is what this is about. Stop looking for avenues out for Fury and look for reasons why Fury got to show up. Because that's what champions do, right? Show up. He didn't give Vladimir his rematch. Tried to walk away from the sport and everything. But he's been put in a position that he's never been put in before. You're either going to sink or you're going to swim. And he's got a long river to cross on this night.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Brian?
Yeah, man. I'm just excited for the fight in general. I mean, Wilder's going to come out. It's going to be interesting because I can't pick it because there's going to be Wilder. Obviously, he's just a new fighter. He has all these new dimensions to his style. But I want to see Yeah, Fury is he's savvy for a heavyweight. He's been boxing for so much longer than most of the guys at that level. And it's going to be interesting to see how he can adjust, what he can do. But yeah, I'm excited, but yeah, I don't know.
It's hard for you to, it's hard. I understand. Some people,
so hard.
some people are just fans. You know what I mean, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is that, you know, myself and Drew and Stormy, you know, we do this, you know, so we give predictions and we got to stick by them. We, you know, it's our shit. But not, look, I talk to people all the time, and they just like to talk about the fight, and that's cool, man. So I don't want you to feel pressured.
So much shit can happen, like so much.
Oh, for sure.
I'm a fighter. So much stuff can happen. Like while they're saying that stuff about the uniform being heavy going into the ring, I get it. He wasn't lying. Like when you're in a fight, there's so much stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to bet money, everybody's gonna be mad at me. But I would probably bet on Fury, just because maybe he has more layers. But I'm so unsure about it. Yeah, it's such a, it's such a tough fight to predict.
And being a fighter yourself, and you know, and stuff like that, and that's exactly why we brought you on here. You also see that there's a big possibility that Fury's going to get stopped. So you're not discounting that either. We want to let people know, right?
Wait, I'm reading Turbo.
No, but if they fought,
pull up Turbo's comment.
Let me see this. Who is this? Greetings to y'all from Lagos, Nigeria. Just want to say that I'm really concerned for Fury's life.
But if they fought Devon, if they fought 10 times right now, you know, it would be a different winner many times. Like this is a tough fight to pick, you know.
You know why it's a little easier for me? Because I know what was done. And when I went back to look at it, I said, holy crap, I'm not bugging. There is something wrong with that guy's glove. And then I know in the first fight, Deontay Wilder weighed in at 208, and you sweat it out. So he was probably like 196 by the time round 5 came along. Plus, I think he had the flu in the first fight, or recovering from the flu. And second fight, we know what happened. And I know what happened behind the scenes with the water, and which made the suit heavy, and him not knowing why he was feeling a certain way. Oh, the suit felt heavy because I got poisoned. That happened. And then I'm looking at the glove. Oh, my eardrum wasn't bust. I had flesh torn out my ear because his gloves were incorrect. He's not a knockout artist, but he's manipulated gloves.
Hit him with the laces.
With the laces and all the wrist shots and the head wrenches, and people forget that he was deducted a point in the second fight. So my thing is, being that I know what happened, that's what set Deontay at ease. He says, you know what, if this guy fights, he didn't hurt me. I just didn't have my legs. So now that I know what happened, I'm going to beat this guy's ass in the third fight. I'm going to beat his ass.
Yeah, because I say if I had to put money, I'd put Fury because I'm so unsure. But fuck, man, Deontay Wilder in the pad work. I know it's only pad work, but that new dimension, those body shots, the head movement, the level changes. He's up, he's down. That shit is going to be interesting.
And see, you're a fighter, so you're looking at it from a professional standpoint. So you know that shit is real. That's just not fake pad work. He's putting in real work, and it's for real. So they said it was a draw.
Stormy, you see
fight.
that?
Listen,
Stormy,
man,
you see that?
Let me add this. Okay. The first 2 fights, Fury went in there with, as Brian mentioned, that boxing savvy and moxie that he has, being the tall guy like he is, 6'7", 84-inch reach, whatever. That's nice and dandy. But remember, he still can't bust a grape.
That's right.
But at the heavyweight division. But he was in against a guy who had fallen into a pitfall of being basically a 2-bullet gun carrying guy.
True.
Jab, right hand, and look to land the right hand often. That's not who he's facing now. That's not who he's facing. That, I'll say it one more time.
Yeah.
That is not who he's facing. Plus, he's facing a man who has absolute bad intentions for him. We haven't seen Wilder have bad intentions toward a person. You may think you have with the Brazil fight and everything, but that wasn't. That was just Wilder doing what he does to people. But now, I told Malik through Tay Jones, I said, listen, I got a few fights that I would like to recommend that, you guys put in your rotation of studying film.
Yep.
And one of the fights, Tay came back and told me, oh, yeah, we got that one. They definitely had that.
Yep.
And that fight was Lewis Smelling 2.
Very important fight.
That fight, when Joe Louis was asked in the dressing room, how many rounds you think it's going to go, Joe? Joe held up while he was getting his hands wrapped. One finger. 1 round. Because their first meeting, Schmeling said, I see something. I got a surprise for him. And what that surprise was in the first fight was Joe Louis was susceptible to dropping his left hand after he jabbed. Because as a child, he fell out of a treehouse and he broke his clavicle. So it never really mended the correct way. So Joe, when you watch him walk with his hands by his side, his left shoulder is back like this. So
yeah, I've noticed that.
Smelling watched this. He observed it. He studied film. So during that fight, as the fight went on, Schmeling was countering Joe's jab with that right hand over and over again all throughout the night till Joe finally could. I think it was the 12th, 13th round. He couldn't take anymore. He went down and he was stopped. Later, when he wins the heavyweight title, and people are like, yeah, Joe, you're the heavyweight champion and everything. He said, no. He said, not until I beat Max Schmeling. Because Max Schmeling took something away from him. And he was on a mission. He did. He almost broke Schmeling's vertebrae in his back with a right hand that he punched him to the body when Schmeling was holding on to the ropes and he let out a scream. He was almost paralyzed from that single punch from Joe Louis. Was put on the canvas 3 times in the first round and the fight was over because Schmeling Joe Louis put on a Mike Tyson-like performance that night. Whoever was across the ring from him that night was not going to win that fight. But since it was Max Schmeling, he put a little mustard on everything he hit him with because he did it with purpose. This is going to happen in this fight. This is the approach that Wilder has for this and the intent that Wilder has for this fight. And when Malik said they had already got those tapes out to study, I applauded. I'm like, okay, now you understand what you need to do.
Yo, why would I listen to a man with an effed up first name who had too many sips of his last name? Goro, Heineken. Why are you worried about my face? Why are you worried about my face, dude? That is homosexual right there. You want to see the look on my face? After Wilder, how about this? I'm not checking for no looks on your face after I know what's going to happen. Because you know what's going to happen with you. You're going to disappear. You're going to disappear.
Yeah. Big dog Willie.
Goro. What the hell is a Goro?
Big dog Willie said Joe Louis had the best right cross in history. He may be right, man. He threw that right so short and compact.
Well, let's check it real quick. And before I do that, I got to get to this super chat, man. We got Jared 011 Green in the house. He says, do you guys remember Fury hanging with WWE superstar Triple H and being in the WWE for a little bit? The McMahons are known for giving PEDs to the athletes, and I've learned to trust Stormy B-Mans as well.
Yeah.
I remember a little bit about that WWE. I'm not a huge WWE guy personally, so I couldn't comment on that. But I do remember him joining it and being a part of it. Did any of you guys want to leave a comment about the super chat?
I know what he's talking about. For years, there's been a dark cloud over Vince McMahon and, you know, a lot of those guys. I mean, you can look at it on YouTube, but I remember they were brought up a lot of steroid use in the 80s. But they have a clean program now, so they say. Mm-hmm. But I know what they're talking about. You know, they allege that Fury went over there because he did a little stint over there with Braun Strowman, and they alleging that he learned some neck wrenches and hooks and little dirty tactics that he applied against Deontay. It's a possibility, but, you know,
makes sense.
You know, I don't know. Did he learn how to juice up from them? I don't know. Possibility. I don't know. I can't deny or confirm, but that's a possibility.
He probably had lots of more before that. There's so many in his training camp. He's probably got conditioning coaches, guys with tons of firsthand experience. I don't know if he had to go to WWE to get that experience with PEDs. I think he probably had that at his, at his whims already.
Yeah.
But thank you, Jared, for that super chat, man. Much love and appreciation, man. It means more than you know. So I'm going to play a few more clips here, man, as we wind down this this live stream. We've been going strong now for almost 3 hours. I appreciate everyone who dropping by. We got a few more things to go over before we end it. I do want to play this Joe Louis Max Schmeling. Don't worry, it's not going to take long because it was ended quickly, as Stormy B man pointed out. All right. But we want to play this for the sake of the conversation, and Stormy did bring up this this fight, which I agree with Stormy 100%. You know, you see Joe Louis here. Look, and they're fighting on the inside. I always loved Joe Louis's left hook as well, like that.
You saw that jumping left hook?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's on the attack like the first fight never happened.
I like the feints too. Keep him guessing.
What was Lewis's weight this night? Was he like 190?
190, 195 or something. Yeah, light.
Yeah, it was around 195, 96, something like that.
Different era.
Stormy, what is Schmeling doing with that jab? Like he's using it as a measuring stick, right?
Yeah, he's trying to measure, and he wants to try to catch Louis. If Louis jabs, he wants to launch the right hand right away, like he did in the first fight. But Louis did something smart this time. He stayed at a certain range and didn't step into range unless he was firing combinations. See, he threw like a 3-punch combination right there when he stepped in. He didn't just pump the jab where Schmeling can counter. He threw more than one shot at a time.
Shit.
See, now today this is a standing 8 count today.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Watch the body shot. Watch the body shot.
Oh, sheesh.
Ooh.
Jeez. Oh, my God.
How fighters used to just get up like that with no count. That's crazy back then.
Oh, my God. This invented the strategic knee.
Yeah.
Ooh. Good Lord. Yeah, over.
And remind people, this was the rematch. Max won the first one, and it shocked the world. You know, and Joe Louis came out playing no games. Playing no games, and it took care of business in first round.
On the way out, let me just point out to Nia Marie, very important what she said. This is the sign of a broken man, the fact that he had to do this. Did y'all know about this?
Yeah, I heard Tay Jones live stream about it.
Yeah. You see, the media's been on his side since he won. Since he competed well in the first fight, the media's been on his side. Why is he banning certain media at fight week? What is he scared of? He can't be scared of us. Or is he? This is ridiculous.
Man, I already made a live stream about the last interview that Fury did. And nobody ever asked him tough questions. Ever. Nobody ever asked Fury tough questions. And I said to people, like, if I had a press pass and I went in to ask questions to Fury, I'll keep it simple. I said, oh, hey, Fury, just let you know, that there's a lot of rumblings out there behind the scenes that when you said that you were out in Miami, maskless, going to boat parties and pool parties and having a great time, even though you knew you had to fight Wilder on July 24th. My question to you is that, there were rumors out there that you might have been using some illegal substances, a.k.a. cocaine. The fans would like your feedback on that. If I asked a question like that, I would never be able to speak to Fury ever again.
No, you got escorted out the room.
I guarantee you that, right? But what's the difference between asking a question like that, which, by the way, those are real rumors. I didn't just make that out to be sarcastic and be funny.
No comment.
People were saying that.
No comment. Boxing, please.
So why is that any different than the media asking Wilder about allegations that were brought up against Fury, which, by the way, there are photos, there's video evidence, and et cetera, et cetera. So what's the difference? So the media can ask Wilder and put Wilder's back against the wall, but nobody's willing to put Fury's back against the wall when there are real rumors brought to the table. Like I just said. And I'm being 100% completely honest with you. I would have been branded as a Wilder supporter by asking that type of question. And probably called all kinds of other different names. And then they would have escorted me out, and I've never been able to speak out. And that goes to Tania Marie's comment. Fury has banned certain people from asking him questions in the media. So that just validates the point right there. But what I want to do, because we had a lot of people join late and throughout the night, I want to go ahead and complete this interview with Jim Gray because it's important. There's a lot of people that thought that Wilder was ducking. This is before the Fury fight. This is when he knocked out Bermain Stervin in the rematch, okay? A lot of people thought he was ducking Joshua in particular. They thought he was ducking Ortiz, right? And they thought that they probably thought he was ducking Fury, which I think at this point Fury was probably snorting cocaine. I don't know what Fury was at this point in time. But they thought Wilder didn't want to fight all these big heavyweights. And at that time, Joshua, to Stormy's point, and I think Brian touched on it too, he was backed by the big machine. He had the gladiator body, and he had, he looked the part. He was the most feared man in the heavyweight division. And so people were saying, hey, Wilder don't want to fight no Joshua, right? So what I want to do is, for all the people in the back, play this out just to let you know that there's one mission in Wilder's head. Well, two missions. The first mission is his mind is violence, and he's going to go out there, and according to Stormy B, and I agree, he's going to make Tyson Fury, I'm going to say this correctly, submit. Did I say that right, Stormy? Gonna make him submit.
Yeah, and
all right.
After Tania's comment in there, you can see the beginnings of it already.
Yep. There you go.
That's the one he drew strength from, right? Running his mouth and talking to people that got microphones, right?
Yep.
That's right.
So 2 missions. Tyson Fury is going to submit on October 9th. The second mission is becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. One name, one face. And he said it right here.
So much frustration. Man, it just seemed like my career, man, it's been crazy. So many guys ducking, so many guys using PEDs, bagging me back. I just want to prove that I am the best. I know I'm the best. I just want to prove that I am the best.
Y'all hear that?
And what great place. Brooklyn, baby. What's up, baby?
Yes, sir.
Don't y'all want to see one champion, one face, one name? He go by the name of Deontay Wilder, baby.
You're going to fight Povetkin, Ortiz. The PEDs took them out. People question the people that you've beaten, but you're only permitted to fight the people who will fight you, and you have 39 wins now and 38 knockouts. So the frustration comes partly because those guys don't want to fight you, or they're on drugs, or whatever the circumstance may be. What do you do now to entice and somehow get Anthony Joshua into the ring so that the fans can see what they want to see and you can get the fight that you want so desperately?
You know, I've been waiting on that fight for a long time now. Me versus A Juice and J. Listen, mate.
A Juice and J.
I declare war upon you. Do you accept my challenge, or you still gonna squat as you piss?
Oy.
I've been waiting for a long time, baby. I know I'm the champion. I know I'm the best. Is you up for the test?
And let's talk about Joshua in a moment, since we had.
So y'all heard it there, man. So all those people that thought, oh, Wilder was scared, this, that, or whatever. This was towards Joshua, by the way. I think at this time, Fury, I don't know if that was after. What do you got showing there? Drew Titan, what?
Rocky hitting the meat.
Pull it up. Pull it up. Pull it up. I want people to see that.
Okay, hold up. Drew Titan.
And let me just remind everybody. Just remind everybody out there that it was Joshua who said Wilder's name first.
Yeah.
Wilder wasn't even focused on him.
Yeah. I talk boxing live. That'd be the trolls.
And respect to Wilder for who turns down the massive step aside money he would have got. You know, like I know he would have got it if he would have posed. He'd step aside for Joshua and Fury. They would have gave him. I know he would have cashed out behind the scenes. You know, like he would have made a lot of money, and he wants to fight. That's kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah, he really wants to fight Wilder. He's excited, man.
Yeah, for sure. Real quickly, Brian. I meant to ask you this earlier. Just give some quick thoughts for the people that are listening from your background and whatnot. We touched on it a little bit, but I want to get your thoughts too. How important is clinch work, and how important will it be in this fight?
Yeah, super important in this fight, specifically because Fury knows in the previous fight that worked well to his advantage. You know that savvy, and yeah, I think it's going to be interesting if they did do all that work in camp. Yeah, Wilder's a little more strong, but I think with the weight, like regardless of strength, you're not gonna muscle too much in the clinch. You're gonna get fatigued either way. Like knowing how to relax, knowing how to roll with it, and all that inside is gonna be, it could be very important. But this is a heavyweight fight, and more importantly, a Deontay Wilder fight. So it could be not important at all because he gets clipped and gets him out of there early anyways, But if it goes a long distance, I think the clinches will be one of those subtle things that makes a huge difference in the fight over 12 rounds.
Right.
How he deals with it.
Yeah, and I think that's why we were talking about the referee, because the referee will play a pivotal role on how that clinch work is. It shouldn't be in either fighter's favor. I mean, I agree. Refs should allow fighters to fight on the inside. Punch it out. I'm in agreement with that, because if you do, it basically discredits the inside fighter. If you don't allow them to do work, and so there's a thin line, right? But what we don't want are the headlocks, the rabbit punches, the sneaky little uppercuts when the referee's trying to break it up. That's what we don't want. Don Schulta, so I'm glad you mentioned that, bro. So pinned up at the top of this chat is the link to become a member of the channel. Just jump up to the top. It's pinned up there, and become a member of the channel. I appreciate everyone who dropped by tonight. I'm going to go ahead and lit in the live stream with a nice little promo video of the fight. Look, guys, it's fight week, man. It's fight week. We've been through this already back in July. We were creeping closer, and then we had to wait. And we've been through so much, trials and tribulations and chaos. But it's finally here, man. We're in the month of October already, And I've been kind of telling myself, making a mental note, once we get to October, that's when it starts getting serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys start to notice it, man. The little wave, the wave is starting to change a little bit. All these high talking Fury fans, they're a little bit quiet right now.
They're very quiet.
They're a little bit quiet, man. Because back in June, I think I was, when I dropped my video, when I first recreated this channel entitled Deontay Wilder Will Smash Tyson Fury. That was before the July 24th date. That video got 20,000 views, and I didn't even have subscribers yet. But that just tells you how people thought back then. And the amount of comments that I got on that video in regards to them being upset on what I was saying just tells you the mindset and how it's now shifted, right? So it's starting to change now. And now it's a matter of, the Fury fans are still Fury fans, don't get me wrong, but they're quiet now. They're sitting there with their legs crossed, fiddling their thumbs and just watching it intensely as it unfolds. Now the weigh-in, of course, I believe it's going to be intense. So be prepared for that. The weigh-in is going to be intense. I'm going to be very curious to see how both fighters weigh in. It's going to be interesting to see. The beautiful thing about heavyweights, there's no weight, right? So you can pretty much come in and whatever you want. So it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm looking forward to that. And I can't thank the panel enough. Appreciate you guys. Stormy was here pretty much since the beginning. Brian, man, for everybody out here, we'll be back in the gym soon, Brian, you and I. And maybe next time we'll record the sparring and share it for the people. And let people know what kind of work we're doing out here. And we would love to have you as a guest on the panel again. You brought some interesting insight, and I appreciate you being honest, because I get criticized a lot. I'm sure that Drew does too, because he brings guests on the panel sometimes, and we get criticized by, we're too biased, we don't allow any other people to come on and have different opinions. We get criticized for that all the time, right? And you came on first time, have no idea how the panel's set up, have no idea what people are going to say in the chat, and you just gave your honest opinion. And we didn't agree on everything tonight. There's some different opinions, right? But more or less, or actually most importantly, we were respectful. And right. It's what Drew has said. It's what Stormy always says, and I've heard Tay Jones say it too. If you're respectful, we can move along amicably. You know what I mean? And that's what we did tonight. So we proved the haters wrong. I let the link open. I left the link open. Nobody wanted to come in and challenge our points, except for some random ass troll who used 2 accounts, by the way. 2 different accounts, and he was banned from both of those accounts. But I don't want to hear none of this. Devon doesn't want to debate. Devon doesn't want to let people have different opinions. That has now been debunked. Shout out to Antoine just real quick for another super chat. All right, found it. All right. Film study and research was on point. We hit a lot today. We looked at pad work. We looked at Joe Lewis, Max Schmeling. We looked at a lot today. So if you missed the live, make sure you rewind it back. It'll be uploaded on the channel later.
Cat looking at me a lot. He wants to know what my face looks like on October 10th.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Drew's face. I got stalkers, man. Jesus Christ. I know I'm handsome, but relax.
Devon Barker, man, thank you for becoming an official member of the channel, bro. Much love and appreciation. And like I said, man, it's pinned up at the top of the chat if you want to continue to support the channel, man, and have access to all the amazing perks, man, all the custom emojis and things like that. And on that note, I'm going to play this video here, close it out for the night. I appreciate you. If you haven't hit the like button yet, jab that shit. Jab the like button. I appreciate you. If you are new to the channel, you haven't subscribed yet, you want to stay a part of the conversation, hit that subscribe button as well. One more week, mate. Wants to put in, he's AKA Cursor, by the way. He changed his name for Fight Week. He says, hashtag bring Brian back. We will definitely do that.
For sure.
Hey, Brian and I are in the same city.
Yeah,
so
man.
We're going to start sparring and doing different stuff in the gym, and also come on here and talk more stuff and things like that. Hit up my man Stormy.
Yeah. If he doesn't bring me back, that body shot is coming for him.
Oh. All right, I ain't going back now. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, and you know, we talked about this earlier, Brian. Like, I like the way you spar, bro, because we're going at it a little bit, and you know, when I land something good or I do something good, you encourage me, say, "Oh man, good shot, good jab, good body shot," and we're learning, and you know, that's the whole process, man, and I appreciate that. And I had no idea who you are, bro. I had no idea of your experience and whatever, and you know, and I respect that, man. I do, I really do. Hit up my man Stormy, man. He just put his channel link into the chat. If you guys don't know, he has a channel as well. I mean, if you guys not only like this type of content, but you also like the history of the sport, you got to hit up my man Stormy B. We all refer to the sensei when it comes to the history of the sport. All right. Me and Drew both. We got a question, we hit up the sensei, man. Make sure you hit him up on his channel. He does a lot of cool stuff, a lot of different panels. Make sure you go hit them up. Once again, man, I appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you hadn't. Become an official member, man. And on that note, all of my official members, once this video starts, when I play it, start dropping in your custom emojis of Wilder, if you're choosing Wilder, and drop your predictions. Let's make it happen. All right, guys, peace, love, positivity, and we will see you guys here probably very soon. It's fight week.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll catch you guys. Make sure you guys go check out all the channels out here, man. Appreciate you.
I'm undefeated in 13 years, and I've travelled the world my whole life, and I never find a man to beat me. There ain't one born. So
my mindset is very violent, and it turned me into a monster. I ain't come to do nothing but get back what's mine, and I want it back in blood.
There's something about these two men and how their careers, their personas, their time in the sport is now woven together. I do think Fury Wilder is a great rivalry.
Plenty of people saying Wilder should have won that fight. He knocked him down twice. There were plenty of people saying Fury outboxed him all night. Well, that tells you kind of the story. It was a draw.
There's always a great anticipation when the opening bell rings for a heavyweight championship fight. Even more so when the two guys are champions and it's a rematch.
He puts it down! Fury scores the knockdown in round number 3. It's a knockdown is scored. A body shot to Wilder. Second time he's been down. And now Fury's looking to split the guard as Wilder's in bad shape. That's the fight is over. This TKO victory.
Nearly 17 months after their second battle, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder were scheduled to step in the ring on July 24th. But a few weeks before, Fury tested positive for COVID. Now the fight is rescheduled for October 9th, an epic third clash between the two best heavyweights of this era.
Well, I think it's important that they fight for a third time to have closure on what's happened in the first two. A lot of this trilogy will be remembered by, was it the return and redemption of Deontay Wilder, or was it continued dominance of Tyson Fury? We don't know yet.